ESPN in St. Louis, where it's 7 o'clock. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Hope you had a chance to work through the storms last night. And Kerry Davis, Brooke Grimsley here. Kerry, I hope you had a chance to work through the fog at the Snoop concert.
A little foggy there.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's expected.
Why would it be foggy?
He has a certain type of crowd that shows up, and they partake in some things. So,
Demographic.
Yeah. It was a good time, though.
Good. I'm glad you had a good time.
I'm tired.
CD is tired this morning.
Oh, I'm very tired.
Yeah, and I think most of St. Louis is because maybe it was 1:30 and 3:30.
Yeah.
2 hours, just consistent. It rained.
Was it?
Yeah.
No,
thunder, lightning.
Missed all of that.
It was
You were so
storm.
tired.
It was big
went
time.
right through that.
Yeah.
It woke me up this morning. And that was the first thing I said when I came out. I was like, did the storms wake you guys up this morning?
Yeah. It was intense. It was quite a storm here in St. Louis, if you are in the St. Louis metro area.
I guess there's one good thing about going and hanging out at the Snoop concert. I didn't realize any of that. I didn't know anything happened.
Yeah. So
Sleeping like a baby.
Oh,
now
man.
you know. We got quite a show coming up for you. The Major League Baseball trade deadline is coming up before you know it. So we're going to talk a lot of trades this morning and for the next couple of weeks before the deadline here on 101 ESPN. We're going to talk to Chris Kerber, the voice of your St. Louis Blues. A lot going on with St. Louis City SC. They win again over Miami. Messai didn't even have the guts to come and play because he just knows.
That was pretty cowardly, honestly.
I thought so.
I think it's because Lewin was around. I don't know. That's what I heard. Word on the street.
He was busy getting introduced by David Beckham. He wouldn't.
Didn't have the guts to come in.
Wasn't available.
Yeah, they could have done that on Friday. He could have played.
Seems like an excuse.
Everybody knew. Yeah. So anyway, so St. Louis City SC, no surprise. They just win again and again and again. Your St. Louis Cardinals, by the way, win again and again and again. The Cardinals all the way up to 40-53 now. Since starting 10-24, the Cardinals are a game over 500, Brooke and Gary. So let's look at it that way, 30-29.
Keep the team the way it is.
Yeah, the Cardinals are coming.
Is what I hear you say.
Oh, yeah, you just get healthy. You get Tyler O'Neill healthy.
Yes.
Hey, what's wrong with him?
He's got a bad back.
How long has he had that?
About a week back.
It's too early. It's too early for this.
You can see Matthew
It's too
Rocchio
early.
dancing, by the way. If you go to our YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL,
Yes.
Matthew Rocchio is already dancing. Cardinals did win yesterday by a score of 8-4 over the Washington Nationals. Randy checks notes here, believes that the Washington Nationals may have the worst record in the National League, but let me just check for you. Oh, no, they don't. Colorado does. So Washington has the second worst record in the National League. So the Cardinals beating a powerhouse yesterday at the ballpark.
Absolute powerhouse.
Well, to
We have
Colorado
different
they
definitions.
are. To Colorado they are.
They are.
It was a 4-3 Cardinal lead in the sixth inning when Donnie Baseball reached base for the MVP.
High fly ball, deep center. Call going back. That ball has some zip. Woo-hoo-hoo. Almost to the top of the batter's eye. Walks and homers are a lot of fun, and the Cardinals get 2 of those runs right back.
Chip with the call on
Jimmy
Bally
with
Sports.
the woos.
Yeah, that was
There's a
great.
woo girl like in Nashville.
And the Cardinals roll. Yeah, right. I would think that Jimmy's probably heard that before.
That he's a woo girl?
Yeah, not. He's just heard it before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Cardinals win it by a score of 8-4. They pile up 13 hits against the woeful Nationals. I'll call them woeful because they're probably dealing in a lot of woe right now. Right? Woe is them. But Donnie Baseball 2 for 4, Goldie 2 for 4 with a couple of RBIs. You got a base hit from Jordan Walker. You got another hit from Burleson. 3-hit day for Nolan Gorman, who also hit a home run. Paul DeYoung 2 for 4. His batting average is at .240. And Kisner came back, and he was 1 for 4. And the Cardinals got great pitching from Jack Flaherty. Well, a quality start, let's put it that way. 6 innings, 3 earned runs. He struck out 7 and walked 3 in what may have been his last Busch Stadium start as a Cardinal.
Wow.
I was thinking about that. If that really could be. I think that would be his final time at Busch Stadium for the Cardinals.
Yeah, isn't that something? Who would have thought that that's the way it would end as a Cardinal for Jack Flaherty?
Do you think?
On a decent note.
Do you think that he is out of here?
Oh.
I mean,
I think he's gone.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Jack, to his credit, is highly motivated, and he's highly motivated by money. I would think that he would want competition for his services, especially if he can continue this run that he's had in July. If he continues to pitch this way, and especially can get into a postseason and pitch well, his value is going to go through the roof.
Yeah.
And he should want that. He should bet on himself.
I agree with that. I just was, I think that the Cardinals should potentially look at re-signing him. And we talked about what are they going to have in this starting rotation going forward into next season. You have no clue. Jordan Montgomery won't be here. You got Miles Michaelis. Adam Wainwright will be gone. You haven't seen really enough from Liberatore or Dakota Hudson. So for me, the best bet would be re-signing Jack Flaherty and if you could get that done. If not, then obviously you got to move him. And
I think the issue there with him is setting a market value. I don't believe that Flaherty will come cheap. I would be surprised if the Cardinals would be able to go to Flaherty and offer him the exact same contract that they offered Miles Michaelis and that he would take it.
No, there's no way. I think he will definitely test the waters and will want to test the waters of free agency, as you said. In some ways, rightfully so, because right now he looks really good going into the trade deadline. He looks decent, I would say. He's going to see what his value is. And if you're the Cardinals, you have to figure out if you can get something out of him instead of just letting him walk away with nothing. That's where it would look really bad.
And his value is increasing by every start that he makes. His value to the Cardinals in terms of the trade deadline. How about St. Louis City SC? They beat Inter Miami 3-0 on Saturday night over at City Park. Our side getting a couple of goals in their kits on the pitch in the first half, and then they score one in the second half to put it away, and another clean sheet for our guy Roman.
Yes, I think you're bearing the lead a little bit. Lewin.
Oh, yeah. Do we have it? Oh, we've got it. Second half, here we go.
5-man Miami wall. Lewin standing over the free kick for St. Louis City. And he scores! Lewin hits the net. Miami unraveling somewhat before the unveiling. But with Lewin back, you bring back a touch of class. This is lovely from Lewin. Just up and over into that far corner.
Absolutely lovely goal in the 80th minute from Edward Leuven. ED.
Did he say classy?
Yep.
Is that what he said? A classy touch.
Bringing a touch of class.
A classy touch.
Edward, EDUARD. So Adeniran scoring in the 28th minute, Parker scoring in the 40th, and then Leuven in the 80th. And it is another win for St. Louis City SC, and they are just dominant. They own the league. So go St. Louis City SC. They're amazing. This is one of the great... In my opinion, this is one of the great expansion team stories in the history of sports.
Is this on par with what you saw from the St. Louis Rams in '99? With the quarterback going down and what they were, or is it
They got to win. They got to finish it off.
They got to finish it off.
They got to finish it off. But this is, right now, it kind of looks like the Vegas Golden Knights in their inaugural season. Yeah. It really is an amazing expansion year, or the Blues. But the Blues, see, the difference there was you had the original 6 and then the 6 expansion teams. St. Louis City SC is beating all these teams that have been around for a while. Inter Miami should be good, right? They're drawing they've got the great climate. They're drawing all this talent. Obviously, Messi, whatever. If you don't want to play against, just say, I'm scared.
That's what I gathered from it. I agree with you. I think City SC, what they've been able to build is a testament to the ownership group and all the work that they put in for years, getting the team here, and not just getting the team here, but putting everything in place where they could be successful. Getting Roman Berkey, spending the money to get him, getting in João Klaus, and I know that we haven't had him here recently, but still you'll hopefully be getting him back later this fall. And then Leuven as well, building that core group and then supplementing around it has been huge for them.
They've been great. So congratulations to St. Louis City SC. MLS with their All-Star game on Wednesday. The All-Stars will take on Arsenal. And, oh, by the way, Kroenke sucks. So go MLS.
There you go.
And go St. Louis City SC especially.
Yes.
Because Arsenal.
If Tim Parker gets a goal against Arsenal, Randy, we might finally turn Randy into a City superfan.
Oh, yeah.
If Berkey gets a clean sheet, blanks Arsenal, Randy's going to be a super fan.
Yep. And This will be a really tough one on Sunday when they come back from the All-Star break because City takes on Nashville Soccer Club.
Nashville.
You forgot some other news, Randy.
Oh, we got other news.
Oh, okay. You still going? All right,
Yeah, we're still going.
This is a long page.
Looking at the
Oh, yeah, we're
Tennessee
gonna get to
Titans
that.
out there.
We do need to know.
Randy, hold on a second. That's a typo. It's Columbus Crew. My apologies.
Oh, okay.
Nashville. It's Columbus Crew, not Nashville.
Okay, got it. Columbus Crew. Well, let's just beat them. That's Jimmy Haslam's team. The Blues signed Alexey Toropchenko to a 2-year deal for $2.5 million. And ESPN reporting that DeAndre Hopkins, Diana Rossini with the word yesterday, the Flash apparently official, DeAndre Hopkins, who was once a really good receiver in the NFL, is set to sign with the Tennessee Titans.
He still
You
is.
don't have to add that extra part at the beginning.
Still is.
As a just very pained Titans fan, let us have this moment. Do you know how many? I sent it to you guys in the group chat yesterday. I had to protect my peace and not look at the comments of what people were saying about DeAndre Hopkins going to the Titans. They were like, I thought that he was looking for a championship. Oh, he's going to go to the place where all the wide receivers go to die and their careers end. No, I don't want to hear that.
So, Brooke, more excited about DeAndre Hopkins arriving on the scene in Tennessee or Randy Moss?
Forget about old Randy.
I'm crying. You can go to YouTube to watch Brooke cry. That's what you can do there. Thank you. Thank you. We're gonna have our moment right now. We're enjoying our moment.
I'm fired up about it.
I can tell.
Who's going to throw him the ball?
Ryan Tannehill.
Okay.
The Ryan Tannehill. Remember when we had that conversation that day about his numbers compared to Andrew Luck? Don't you feel a little bit better about that?
Yes, and one time Ryan Tannehill did lead the NFL in passing, in passer rating, within the last 5 years, right? So, yeah, he's going to be good. Brooke will be smiling, by the way, on Thursday from 4 to 6 at Prestige Pools and Spa's huge hot tub and swim spa tent sale. It's happening near Main Event at the District in Chesterfield. Head to the tent sale on Thursday to take advantage of the biggest discounts Prestige Pools and Spas has ever offered. Check it out Thursday with Brooke at the huge Prestige Pools and Spas tent sale in Chesterfield. That's pretty cool. That's a lot of prestige.
Good job.
It's very prestigious.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, Prestige Pools. Brooke, Thursday, 4 to 6. That'll be fun. All right, coming up next, 3 things. Well, actually, more than that. It's going to be 6 things we loved about the weekend here on 101 ESPN. All right. 2 things each we loved about the weekend. 3 things we loved about the weekend. And then times 2. Let's get things started with Brooke Grimsley. Brooke, what'd you love about the weekend?
What I loved, my number 2 thing, is I've been waiting, and I've been talking about this. Obviously, we've had the departure of the big 3. I know that Djokovic is still around, but he's sticking around, but still just the new era of tennis coming in. My big thing from the weekend is a new name on the rise, taking down one Djokovic in a pretty stunning fashion. I don't know if you could say, I would say stunning.
He's number 1 seed.
Yeah, I know. And that's where I'm kind of saying, I just think that in tennis especially, what really matters is if you're able to take down one of those perennial superstars. Right. And Djokovic obviously qualifies for that. So I have a lot of excitement around Carlos Alcaraz and what he was able to do this weekend, win in very stunning, exciting fashion against Novak Djokovic and take down one of the big 3, I think is ushering in hopefully a new era of tennis. 20 years old, really exciting player. I'm excited to see what he does with his career. Winning in Wimbledon, obviously, is huge, and taking down him, Djokovic, is big.
And in Carlos Alcaraz's lifetime, only 4 names are on the wall.
And that's what
Wimbledon.
he talked about.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's been Djokovic, Federer, Nadal, and Andy Murray won once.
And winning in that way, it is huge for him.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yep. My number 2, I started watching. So, Randy, when I was a young lad, I used to love this TV show. It was amazing. Big, strong guys and gals going against average Joes. So I was watching the documentary of the American Gladiators. And I am so just thrilled. I was so thrilled watching it because it took me back to my childhood. That to me was one of the best TV shows. It was a competition. You had your everyday, guys and gals going against these superhuman looking people competing, and it was good sportsmanship. It was fun. It was aggressive. It was everything that I wanted to be an American gladiator when I was a young man. So watching the documentary for me was awesome. It's awesome. I'm not done with it yet, but just starting on it, and it's been pretty good.
That's cool. Yeah. Guys, I've always been a Jack Flaherty fan. Ever since he came up, I liked his demeanor. I haven't always liked his body language, and I haven't always liked some of the things that he did on the field. But I've always liked the fact that he voices his opinion. He's just the kind of player that I think we need, an opinionated player. He's anything but the vanilla answer guy.
Yes.
And he has had his career decimated by injury. So to see him yesterday improve his July record to 3-0 with a 1.45 earned run average, 18 2/3 innings this month. He's struck out 16 and walked 7. He really is. He's not the old Jack Flaherty, but he's a reinvented Jack Flaherty, and I'm really happy to see it. Whether he winds up here or somewhere else, I'll root for the guy because, man, he's had a lot of adversity, and it looks like he's overcoming it.
I feel like Cardinals fans should as well take that same approach. I feel like some people maybe didn't like his opinions off the field and couldn't separate that with his on-the-field performance, or they just wanted a reason to root against him a lot of ways because he takes on that villain persona.
Yeah,
and he likes to do that because I feel like that's something that gives him an edge when it comes to pitching. But at the same time, like he's been a part of your organization. That's a homegrown player that you should root for and want the best for.
Well, and we do live in, half of us live in a shut up and dribble culture. Right?
Yes.
They don't want athletes to speak their mind, even though the athlete generally is, if he's willing to go out on the limb to speak about it, pretty well educated about the subject that he's talking about.
People are allowed to have opinions.
They are. Everybody is.
Everyone is. Some of them stink.
Number 1.
My number 1, we already talked about it in this last segment. I am fired up. I don't want to talk about the past. We are not going to talk about...
I'm not here to talk about the past.
We are not here to talk about, I don't know, Julio Jones, Randy Moss, all that stuff. We're not talking about the past with the Titans. This is the future of the Titans. This is a new era of the Titans. We are not going to waste away another wide receiver. My number 1 is DeAndre Hopkins.
Proud of you.
You're so excited. My number 1 is DeAndre Hopkins going to the Tennessee Titans. I know it's not completely finalized, but in my mind, it pretty much is because DeAndre Hopkins, he posted a picture on Instagram of him and Derrick Henry. Seeing those two together, working together, I don't think it's going to matter that much who the quarterback is. And I think Tannehill is just about as average as possible. Just get Derrick Henry the ball and do just well enough to get DeAndre Hopkins the ball, and he's a playmaker. He'll do the rest. I'm very excited about the future for the Titans, and maybe this is just me just wanting something different for the Titans and where some hope. I want hope. So my number one is hope instilled with the Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
It's back, baby.
I'm good there now. Here's the
No.
Well, no, I'm a Hopkins fan. I thought the Cardinals were really stupid to cut him. I think that he can still be an impactful player. What you run into, though, is Father Time, and ESPN did their rankings of running backs, and I think Derrick Henry was listed number 7 among running backs now.
He's going to put that bulletin board material.
Hopefully.
Derrick is?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
You don't believe that?
Well, no, I think he'll be really good.
I think he still has some tread left on the tires.
We talked to Blaine Bishop on Friday, and I don't know.
I think he's got another good year or 2 left in him.
Okay.
Have you seen
Playing
his
at a
off-season
high
training?
No.
It is insane, the training he does during the off-season.
Derrick Henry is a stud.
I would love for you, Brooke, I would love for the Titans to have a successful season. And there's a lot of Titans fans here in St. Louis. So I think it'll be fun.
Super Bowl champs, baby.
Super Bowl champs. Wouldn't bother me at all.
Okay. All right.
And I'm a Vrabel fan, too.
I do like Mike Vrabel. And obviously Rand Carthon is there as the GM.
Right,
That's
right.
my guy. So
Yeah. New offensive coordinator, Tim Kelly.
You love Rand.
yeah, she
Yes.
did. She said, "Tell Rand I love him." I'm so happy. My number one is the concert last night. I told you, Snoop Dogg, Too Short,
Yeah.
Warren G. It was just a Wiz Khalifa. It was a really good concert, really fun. Just good times, good people. Had a great time. Had an awesome time last night. Enjoyed myself.
Did he play all the hits?
He played a lot of them. Yeah, he played a lot of songs. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And he's still able to. Snoop's got to be almost 50, if not 50.
Yeah, when you walked in, I said, does he still have it? He does.
He does. He still got it.
By the
Brought
way,
Nelly out as well. Nelly came out and performed.
Oh, really?
awesome. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I underestimated Derrick Henry. He's rated by ESPN as number 5, as the number
There you
5
go.
running back.
Yeah, don't you speak against my running back
I
like
will
that.
not. I will not do that. Guys, my number one is one of the great things about sports is when players that have done everything participate in a sport and just show off unbridled joy. And when Steph Curry hit a hole-in-one Saturday at the American Century Championship and ran all 152 yards down the fairway, that was one of the coolest things I've seen in sports. This is a guy that's won NBA championships, won an NBA, a couple of MVPs, but a finals MVP. For Steph Curry, of all people, to be that thrilled about getting a hole-in-one shows me about his zeal for sport.
His competitiveness. I mean, we all want to be good at that sport. He is really good at it, but it's not what he does for a living. And you saw the excitement. It was childlike. It was something you see from when kids do something really cool and they're so excited. It was a special moment for him.
It was great. And he wound up rallying and winning the whole thing, too.
It always just, not that it's surprising that athletes are athletic, but when they're so dominant at other sports, like Mookie Betts being like a championship bowler and different things like that. So when you see Steph do that, it's like, man, is there just one thing that you're bad at? Is there one thing that you're bad at? I just want to know.
Yeah, they probably don't do it too often if they're bad at it.
No.
Stay
You
away
won't
from
see
that.
them.
Put that on film.
So, and Brooke, by the way, your coach, Mike Vrabel, finished in 65th. And our guy, Joe Buck, he wanted to finish in 20th. He wound up tied with Larry Fitzgerald for 40th overall at the American Century. But Joe had a good weekend of golfing.
Nice.
In a beautiful spot, too, in Tahoe. That's 3 things we loved about the weekend here on 101 ESPN. Coming up, the Cardinals are on some trade market sheets as their assets rise. We'll talk about trade rumors and who could the Cardinals move and who will move next on 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's Kerry, and if you're dealing with pain, I've got some great news for you. My friend Dr. Sheen can help you. You know, the older we get, the more pain our bodies can feel. I've been dealing with pain for some time. Sometimes it's my knees, my ankles, my back. Lately, it's been my elbows, and I thought I'd have to deal with this pain for a while until I met Dr. Sheen. Dr. Sheen taught me about PBM. What is PBM? It's photobiomodulation. Easy explanation. It's light therapy that helps you heal. The light stimulates cells in the damaged area and allows your body to heal itself faster, decreases inflammation, and helps eliminate pain and discomfort. Even after my first treatment, I felt great. My physical therapist told me that my inflammation in my elbows had gone down significantly, and I have been doing much better, feeling like I did 10, 15 years ago. If you want to feel like you did years ago, check out Dr. Sheen today online at thesvi.com. That's thesvi.com.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Despite multiple rain delays, the Cardinals take 2 out of 3 from the Washington Nationals over the weekend. They will continue on in their second half with a series against the Miami Marlins. Miles Mikolas, after just 3 innings of work in a shortened start on Friday, he'll be back on the bump starting for the Cardinals tonight. It's a 6:45 first pitch. Miles Mikolas faces off against the lefty for the Marlins, Jesus Luxardo. Luxardo on the season 8-5 with a 3.29 ERA. Also over the weekend, STL City SC back in their winning ways with a 3-0 win over Inter Miami CF to close out the first half of the season. The MLS All-Star game pitting MLS All-Stars versus Arsenal is on Wednesday evening. City back in action on Sunday to start their League's Cup group stage. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
High-end pitching prospects do not generally get traded anymore. There are rare exceptions, but especially if what the Cardinals are doing is trading away guys who are rentals, who are headed for free agency after the season, then I think it's unlikely they're going to get high-end pitching prospects in return. They think they're going to have to be looking to free agency this offseason, and then they're going to be competing with a lot of other clubs. You know, Lucas Giolito is going to be one of the leading free agents among starting pitchers this winter. Well, guess what? Everybody's going to be interested in Lucas Giolito.
Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. Everything that's wonderful is what I feel when we're together.
That's Keith Law of The Athletic, who's always sunshine lollipops, always optimistic. He was on with BK and Ferrario last week, and he determined that, no, it's not going to happen for the Cardinals. They might as well not even try because they just can't get high-end pitching prospects at the deadline. He may or may not be right, but there's a reason that he's a former executive in Major League Baseball and writing for The Athletic.
Oh, my gosh.
What?
Shots fired so early this morning.
Tell us how you feel, Randy.
Am I wrong? Now, Mark Feinstein, who writes for MLB.com, gave us a list of pitchers that might be available and people that the Cardinals might take a look at. Although, if I'm the Cardinals at this point, I'm not pursuing a Giolito in a trade, even if I'm giving up a Jordan Montgomery, because I want a guy that I'm sure that I can have for a longer term. Lance Lynn of the White Sox. He was listed by Feinstein as one of the guys that could be available. A 3.86 ERA over his past 4 starts, a 16 strikeout performance against the Mariners on June 18th. He's holding hitters to a 198 average during that stretch with 48 strikeouts over 25 2/3. That's the guy, especially because the Cardinals know the personality and need the personality that the Cardinals should be pursuing. He's under contract for next year. I think Lance Lynn, if the Cardinals are in the market, and oh, by the way, if the White Sox have any desire to move their pitchers, I think that'd be an interesting guy. If I'm the White Sox and I tore down so that I could build for a playoff spot, I'm going to take my chances with trying to overcome in this division. Bieber is out now for the Guardians. Minnesota's okay, but Chicago's still only 8.5 back. They could get back within 5 games in a week and take their chances with Cease and Giolito and Lynn.
I'm not on the Lynn bandwagon. I mean, right now he's at a 6.06 ERA. So if he's down for his last 4 starts, what was he at prior to that? I mean, he's 6-8 during the season. And he's 36 years old. I know that he had a great time here. He had a great career while he was here. I don't know if you're trading off pieces and obviously looking for 2024. I don't know that he's one of the guys that you look at and say, okay, we can trust that he's going to be one of our starting 5 going into next season.
Well, right now they have Matz under contract and Michaelis under contract. And then you're looking at Graceffo, McGreevy, Dakota Hudson, Liberatore. That's what you're looking at right now. Somewhere along the line, you got to come up with 4 starting pitchers.
Not great.
I would like to see Giolito in free agency. I mean, I don't think you go after him in a trade.
I'd rather have Lance Lynn than Giolito.
Toward 2024?
Because you think
I
it's
would
more
rather
of a
have
sure
Lance
thing?
Lynn 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
Yeah. Lance
Lynn, I would. Yeah.
Well, he's still got the same personality, and he's still gritty, and he's not going to be your number 1 guy. You're going to have to go out and get a number 1 guy, but he's going to be a number 3 or 4. So right now you're looking at Michaelis as a 2 or a 3. You're going to have to plug in a 3 or a 4, and by the way, Lynn is not overly expensive. And then you're going to have to go out and get a 1 and a 2/3 kind of guy. And there are other guys out there. Giolito will be a free agent, but he's been hurt. He's been inconsistent. Actually, during the course of their careers, Giolito his high upside is higher than Lynn's upside. But, man, he is mercurial. And we have seen a lot of mercurial with the Cardinals.
We had Eric Kratz on last week, and he talked about pitchers and how they have to be handled with care. A lot of them are that way. It was interesting just hearing his conversation and how he talked about the pitcher-catcher dynamic and how they really had to take care of each other or take care of pitchers, because a lot of them are, as you said, they have their ups and downs. So that comes with the position. Lance Lynn is a guy that you know is going to give you 100-plus innings. I just feel like we've done that right now with Adam Wainwright, a guy on the tail end of his career. Obviously, it's a few more years older is Adam Wainwright, but I don't know that you necessarily need to go that route, because you say he might be a 4. He might be a 5 at best going into next season, which you obviously need that, but we've seen that this season and how that has played out with Adam Wainwright.
And for me, one of the kids is going to wind up being the number 5 to start the season. I want to replicate 2000. I want to get 4 new starters and then have a rookie at the back end. And not 4 new ones, because I'm going to have Michaelis there. I like Steven Matz personally, but I'm not going to count on Steven Matz to be in my rotation. So I need to go out and get a Nola, or trade for a Cease, and I'm not convinced the White Sox will do that, or trade for a Glasnow, and there's no way that the Rays trade Glasnow during the season. So you got to get that number one during the offseason. But I think you can go a long way, especially if, as Mark Feinstein points out in his piece on Saturday at MLB.com, that the Cardinals are willing to move Jordan Hicks. Jordan Hicks could bring you a young starting pitcher. If you trade both Hicks and one of your starters to the Dodgers, you could get a pretty good starting pitcher back in return, a young starting pitcher with control. Now, I don't know that the Cardinals have any interest in those guys. Derek Gould over the weekend suggested the Cardinals would have Logan Gilbert of Seattle on their list, Clayton Beeter, AAA pitcher for the Yankees, and Lance Lynn. That was the other person that Derek suggested the Cardinals would have interest in. Again, I don't have 100% faith in those guys. And it's interesting because the Cardinals, under John Mozeliak, they've never really bought young players, right? We don't know how they evaluate other teams' systems because they've never had to do it.
The Logan Gilbert one is very interesting to me because from what I'm understanding and what I've seen on the Mariner side of things, they're not really looking to part with him. And if you are going to part with him, it's going to cost you a pretty big bat. I would assume maybe a Nolan Gorman, a Donovan, Edman, or something like that. Edman, I don't know if you can put him in the big bat category, but I'm saying it's going to be a piece that you would have to give up in order to get him. It doesn't seem like they're really willing to part with him.
And you have to make a decision, right? Because if you're going to give up a Brendan Donovan, for example, how many bats can you afford to give up? I guarantee you what's going to happen if you move Dylan Carlson. Everybody's going to be pissed off in 3 years that Carlson's a two-time All-Star, right? It's just that's just how the Cardinals go. But he'll wind up with the Yankees and all of a sudden turn into a really good player because they know how to bring young players along. I could see the same sort of thing happening with the Cardinals getting a pitcher that's established himself somewhat like Gilbert and then coming here and regressing.
I don't think anybody wants to see that.
No, but just based on what's happened with the Cardinals' own players regressing, you could envision that happening unless changes are made in terms of developing the young talent that they have at the major league level.
Yeah, and that's a very good point because you have to figure out a way moving forward. Is this a pitching philosophy that they have? Is it, I don't even understand fully what happened. Is it their philosophy of where it was more pitch to contact, but it seems like you have to realize that the rest of the trend of the league and really what you need is more swing and miss stuff from guys. And
the scary thing is that you have the lack of success of a guy like Liberatore at the major league level, who goes down and has apparently just completely different stuff and clearly different success at AAA.
That's a mental thing then. I mean, if you can play in AAA, the dimensions of the field don't change. Nothing changes. It's just the environment that you are, and you kind of trick yourself into making it bigger than it is. So hopefully he can go down there, get himself corrected, and come back up and have a mindset. It's just baseball. The ball is the same. The batters might be a little bit better, obviously, but it's still baseball. You're still doing all of the things that you've already done, and you just have to carry it over to the majors.
And it's been difficult for young Cardinal pitchers this year.
I mean, you look at Dakota Hudson, you look at Liberatore, you really don't know what you're going to have going into 2024. I think spring training, it made me believe we had some help around the corner. I think Steven Matz is hopefully getting corrected and going in the right direction. He could possibly be your fifth starter next year. He's going to get another opportunity. He's getting it right now to be a starter. He's going to get an opportunity to be in that rotation probably to start next season as well.
Bottom line, in a couple of weeks, I think if the Cardinals can package up, and they've got 6 people that are capable of being traded. When you go Flaherty, Montgomery, Hicks, DeYoung, and then I think you can look at one of your Swiss Army knife guys, and then one of the outfielders, and maybe Tyler O'Neill. I don't know what sort of market value he would have, but I think you can part with 6 different pieces and maybe come up with, as Derek suggested, some younger, controllable talent that they just don't have right now.
With Lance Lynn, were you looking to acquire him at the trade deadline where you would be trading away some pieces, or are you talking about free agency?
No, I would trade a young player for him.
So who do you think that they'd be willing to part with in order to get Lance Lynn?
I would think that the White Sox probably are looking for either a replacement. You might even be able to do a Liberatore for a guy like that. And a bat that because their offense is, aside from Robert this year, their offense has been terrible. So maybe they would be in the market. O'Neill still has a year of control. So maybe you trade a year of control for a year of control, for a guy like that. But that's an element that the Cardinals, that leadership element that Lance Lynn brings to the table, that feistiness, that's something that the Cardinals desperately need. Every time they've won, they've had that, and they don't have that right now. So somewhere along the line, they're going to have to find that grittiness, that crustiness that Brzezinski talked about, that they have had in their winning clubhouses, and they just don't have right now.
Well, and that gritty leadership, because you're going to have some differences there next season with Adam Wainwright being gone. Not saying that, we've seen what's happened with the clubhouse this season. You need that guy in there who's not just a leader by example and maybe saying things every once in a while, but also somebody who has that feistiness.
Yeah, and just hates losing.
Yeah.
We've brought it up a lot, but Lance Lynn, he hates losing, and he's not afraid to share that. He hates losing. That's Brooke. That's Carrie. I'm Randy. It's the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Coming up, get your text in to the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. Take it or leave it, coming your way on 101 ESPN. Hey, Cardinal fans, I have an exciting scoop for you from our friends at Schnucks. They have a fun new ice cream, and you're going to love it. It's Schnucks Cardinals Cherry Crunch Ice Cream, exclusively at Schnucks. It's cherry and vanilla pudding swirled ice cream, red and white for the Cardinals, of course, sprinkled with candy-coated graham cracker pieces that bring the crunch. And it's real ice cream. That's because Schnucks uses real milk and real cream. How cool is that? And wait until you see the Cardinal Baby Blues on the packaging. You're going to absolutely love it. You can find it in the frozen aisle at your local Schnucks. And while you're at it, take a look at all the other unique flavors Schnucks ice cream has. Just look for the red Schnucks circle on the carton. Ice cream and the Cardinals. Is there a better summer combo? No, there isn't. Schnucks didn't think so, and that's why they made Schnucks Cardinals Cherry Crunch Ice Cream. So root for the Redbirds with scoops of Schnucks Cardinals Cherry Crunch Ice Cream exclusively at Schnucks. When you're there, check out all the other flavors too. It's sensational Schnucks ice cream.
It's time for Take It or Leave It.
Want to say something? Put it out there. Do you like it?
You can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your take it or leave it.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
It is time for Tioli on 101 ESPN. 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. And, of course, you can watch us this morning on our YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL. Just go to the old YouTube and type in 101 ESPN STL. Okay, one for our basketball fans in the audience. Yesterday, the Phoenix Suns traded Cam Payne, and they signed one of my favorite names, Bol Bol. Take it or leave it. As they try to defend Nikola Jokic, the Phoenix Suns are closer to being able to beat Denver now than they were at the end of their playoff loss to them.
Leave it. Who is going to play point guard for him? Man, you going to put Devin Booker at point?
I think it's going to be either Beal or Goodwin.
Rockio is he says yes.
Absolutely, you put Devin Booker and Beal at point. They're the two best ball handling guards. Two guards in the league.
Well, their point player is Kevin Durant.
They both. That's the thing, is they both average around 5 to 6 assists the last half of their career. Half the time, you just need to give it to Kevin Durant at the timeline to initiate your offense. They don't need a true point guard in that conventional sense.
And the Nets didn't need a true coach.
That's a very different thing.
Same.
The one thing I do think they have, and I don't think this helps in defending Jokic, but they've got a rim protector now in Bull. But Jokic isn't a rim player. That's the problem that they have. He can be, but is Bull going to be able to follow Nikola Jokic all over the court? No. And I do think that they needed a player like Payne on their roster. So I don't think that they're any closer either with the firing of Monty Williams and all the changes they've made.
There's
I just
a lot
don't think
going on over there.
Yeah,
I don't think they make it to the conference finals. That's my bold prediction.
Yeah, well, they're going to be old.
They're not going to be. It's too much. I said this time and time again. When you have three superstars, somebody has to take the back seat. Kevin Durant ain't taking the back seat. Devin Booker been there. He's not taking the back seat. You know who is? Bradley Beal. He's going to score about 17 points a game, and he's going to be frustrated.
And DeAndre
Your
wants,
eyes get big like you think I'm joking.
You think he's going to go all the way down to 17?
Where the hell is he going? 17.
That's a little low.
He'll top out at 20. So we were talking about the Cardinals and potentially trading some players. Take it or leave it. Matthew Liberatore gets traded, or Dylan Carlson get traded. They go on to be superstars. And then Cardinals fans are
there is layers to that one.
Yeah,
there is layers. Not only will they get traded, they will be superstars.
I'll take it.
Cardinals fans are going to be irate.
Oh, I'll take that.
Just remember how you felt today.
Yep.
Write it down.
Yep.
Put a note in your phone. Today, July 17th, I really don't care for Matthew Liberatore or Dylan Carlson. Write it in your notes so when they become superstars for another team, you are not yelling at everyone in the Cardinals organization.
Thank you.
That's all I want you to do.
Why not?
Because
isn't that fun?
It is. I think
it
so.
is fun.
Hindsight is always great.
It is amazing when you look at the numbers that Dylan Carlson put up when Mike Schilt was his manager, and then look at the numbers since.
Oh, I saw that you tweeted that this past weekend.
Pretty
Somebody
substantial.
can go look at that if you want to see it. I think that it would bring up more concerns of how if they are properly developing talent here. That would be my biggest takeaway from it. That's where you should be frustrated is, are they not maximizing their talent? My take it or leave it, guys. I'm sure you all saw Tennessee football, the violations under Jeremy Pruitt when he was the head coach.
Wasn't it just like one or two little?
Closer to 20. Anyways, we'll get past that point. But because my take it or leave it, today's the start of SEC Media Days. Head coach Eli Drinkwitz is going to take the stage. Take it or leave it, he's going to say something about Tennessee and their violations.
Totally take it. Yeah.
Tennessee had to give back 11 wins. Was that the number?
Let's see, 11 from 2019 and 2020 seasons.
Take it or leave it. You didn't know they had 11 wins to give back from 2019, 2020
I'm going to
season.
leave that.
Hey!
And here's the thing. I think Missouri might have beaten them, but the teams that they are giving up the wins to don't get the wins on their record. So coaches that got fired should get their jobs back. They don't get them.
That stinks. So there's just it just never happened.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Missouri had one tutor do one paper for one player and lost a bowl game, and Tennessee doesn't lose a bowl game. It's crazy.
Money talks.
It sure does.
Money talks.
Yeah. And here's the other part of this. They've lost these scholarships, and you know what they're going to do is they're going to bring in preferred walk-ons and then load them up with NIL money.
Isn't that the beauty of that, though?
Yeah.
There's loopholes now.
Totally.
Well, there's always been loopholes.
Yeah, but now they're
ask Jeremy Pruitt.
legal.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got on the text line, Matthew?
Freaking orange. I hate that color.
I love that color.
And also, I guess it was
I love that color as well.
Chick-fil-A bags is what he used.
Oh, nice.
I think some people thought it was McDonald's bags, but they're saying Chick-fil-A
Chick-fil-A.
bags. That's a very important detail.
Yeah, a note for the audience in the room. So down the street, there used to be a Fridays, closed, being torn down, Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
Dorset and McKelvey used to be a Steak and Shake, torn down, building a Chick-fil-A. Down Olive in Olivet near the new Costco,
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A. There's going to be like 3 Chick-fil-A's within 5 minutes.
And they'll all be
down
busy.
Yeah, there's right at 170 and Olive, right,
Oh, you haven't
right in
seen
the
it?
corner there.
Oh, is that what they were building?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's there, and it's good.
What makes me really mad about that orange being a really good color, despite the fact that I hate it, that checkerboard pattern looks so freaking sweet.
Doesn't it?
I do like that.
I
That's
love
amazing.
the checkered board so much.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
spent
I
like
hate you
$10
guys.
million to figure that out.
I could have told you that in 5 minutes. Come on now.
How did Yuri Collins not wind up there, by the way?
Thank God he did.
Amazing.
Take it or well, money talks. Take it or leave it. For Brooke, the signing of D-Hop makes up for drafting Will Levis.
We'll see. The jury's still out on Levis.
Come on, take it or leave it.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. It makes me feel a little bit better. I keep forgetting about him, and then something like that just sneaks up on me, and I'm like, oh yeah, that happened.
Do they have a number 10? They didn't retire it for Vince Young, did they?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
So DeAndre should be able to get number 10.
I am exiting the building. I'm exiting the building.
You guys had
No.
some stars. You had some players.
Yeah, apparently
Hasn't
that's the
gone
place where stars go to die. That's what everybody's saying on social media. I'm not upset about it whatsoever.
Hey, at least they're stars.
Name one wide receiver. Take it or leave it. The Cardinals should target a young starting pitcher that's injured for the year and controlled next year. There's some good names out there.
Take it. Yeah, if I could get Walker Buehler, and I know I can't, but if I could do a trade with the Dodgers and get Walker Buehler on my side and correct that wrong,
Oh,
I
yeah.
would do it in a blink.
Here's a specific one for you, Randy. Take it or leave it. Dylan Carlson for Alex Manoah.
Well, Manoah's kind of fixed now, but yes, I would, in a blink, I would do that. I don't know that the Blue Jays need Dylan Carlson, but I would do it. I just like 260-pound pitchers that like to throw 9 innings. That's what
I
we
like
call,
those guys as well.
Yeah.
100, 105, 110 pitches an outing.
Yeah, or 150 for him.
Whatever you
That's what he
want.
wants to do.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it. The Missouri Tigers win 9 games this year.
Leave it.
The basketball
The
team will
football
at
team?
least win 30. So I mean, they're getting past 9. I think.
No,
I think
we're
they're
talking
getting past
about
9.
football.
team?
Football.
I don't want to. I don't want to.
Let me look at the schedule again.
What is their
I don't want to bet on
schedule
that. I
this
don't want
year?
to bet on that number. Then.
Football Mizzou schedule?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Is it?
it's Carrie.
Wait.
It's not really something that you. Well,
Dennis Gates gets him to 10. I think. I'll
Okay,
take it.
the first one, South Dakota. Okay,
Win.
okay.
Win at home on a
Second
Thursday
one,
night.
Here we go.
the Blue Raiders out of Middle Tennessee. That's a L
Where's
for
that going to be
Mizzou.
played? Or is that going to be played?
That's going to be
At the zoo?
Yeah.
Okay, 2-0. Okay.
Okay, then Kansas State.
I'm going to go
that's a
2-1.
loss.
That's going to be interesting. Memphis,
3-1. That's at the Dome.
That
Vanderbilt,
don't sleep on Memphis.
I won't, but it's at the Dome.
Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt is at 4-1. Do I have or 3-1?
That's 4-1.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's 4-1.
Okay,
LSU.
4-2. Although Eli is 1-0 against them.
Okay. Kentucky.
You aren't going to beat that family.
Family.
Kentucky, they get the win against Kentucky this year.
Really? In
yeah.
Lexington,
Yep.
by the way.
They're gonna beat them. It's going to be the.
Somebody write that down because there's.
It's going to be revenge for the punt call game. Yeah,
South Carolina,
that's a W.
Georgia,
That's an L. Yeah, they beat South Carolina
Tennessee,
this year.
L, Florida.
Oh, that's a quick
Tennessee?
L.
That was a quick L.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, Missouri's. Sure, they allow 60 a game to Josh Heupel's offense, but they're going to score 70.
You're getting close to 8 or 9 wins.
Florida,
Loss,
Arkansas.
win.
At Arkansas.
Arkansas doesn't have it against Mizzou for whatever reason. Just
Well, I
doesn't
think
have
Well,
it.
I would.
There might have been 9 wins.
Yeah. I don't know. I was there
Okay.
for one of those
I'll go 8.
Arkansas Mizzou losses that resulted in a job loss.
So yeah, okay, I'll go with 8. All right, Matthew, you got one more? Maybe, maybe not.
Take it or leave it. You like everything about Tennessee except for when they play Mizzou.
Take it.
Take it.
Take it.
Okay, University of? Okay, here's the
Yeah,
thing.
University of Tennessee.
I like Rick Barnes, right? He's all right. I like that.
Don't mind him.
I like the fact that they really do want to win.
That's important.
Yeah, they're boosters. I believe they have the second largest NIL budget in America,
Neyland Stadium is a sight to see.
unless you're a person wearing the opposing team's colors, apparently.
Just go in. Just all you need to do is just wear what your team, wear it underneath some orange. or
Okay,
white.
got it. Okay, we'll do that.
Keep it close to your heart.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
not to be seen.
So I'm a fan. All right. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Randy.
And thank you very much for your texts. We do appreciate them. Next up here on 101 ESPN, Cardinals have been circling the Mariners for a couple of weeks now. Could Logan Gilbert be the move for a future top of the rotation arm? That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, St. Louis, warm weather's here, isn't it? And you need to get your air conditioner tuned up if you haven't yet. Heck, we're in the middle of July, so you know the rest of July and August and part of September are going to be really hot. So you need to call my friends at Hoffman Brothers, 314-664-3011, and get that air conditioner ready to go for the really warm weather. Don't wait until your air conditioner stops working. The maintenance on your air conditioner once a year is just as important as oil changes in your car. So call today or schedule online at HoffmanBros.com. That's HOFFMANN, HoffmanBros.com. Carricker family has used Hoffman Brothers for years, and it's not just for their great work on heating and air conditioning, but they do a fantastic job on plumbing and electrical and all the other things, maintenance on your appliances. And if you get their home protection plan, man, it makes a huge difference. 2 semi-annual visits on your heating and cooling system, free filters, and discounts on everything that they do at Hoffman Brothers at Hoffman Bros, HOFFMANN, HoffmanBros.com, or give them a call, 314-664-3011. That's Hoffman Brothers.
Rocc Rewards app.
You look at next year, if you've got Arenado and Goldschmidt and Jordan Walker, their problem is not their lineup. Their problem is pitching. And if they can get some pitching back, even if it's not a blockbuster, those are the moves that they should make.
That is friend of the show, Bob Costas, Robert on MLB Now, talking about the Cardinals. And he's not wrong. If you have that core that he mentioned next year, if Walker continues to perform the way he has, if you have Arenado and Goldie, and especially if you still have Nolan Gorman, if you're able to go into next year with your pitching fixed and have Nolan Gorman in your lineup with Walker, Arenado, and Goldie, then you've got something. And Derek Gould revealed over the weekend that the Cardinals, his sources say, have interest in 6'6", 215-pound Seattle right-hander Logan Gilbert. Now, Seattle was in the playoffs last year, and they're trying to make the playoffs again this year. And Logan Gilbert, who is 26 years old, this year is pitching reasonably well. 7-5 with a 3.66. Last year he won 13 games, had a 3.20 earned run average in his second full season. Last year he made 32 starts. He's made all 18 starts this year. And let's start with this. One of the things the Cardinals need is a horse. They need somebody to give them innings at the top of the rotation. Last year, they got a ton of innings out of Adam Wainwright and out of Miles Michaelis. People tend to forget that Waino gave him 191 innings last year. So you were getting innings. Well, this year, aside from Michaelis, who has given them innings? Because even though Flaherty has made every start, there have been multiple times where he hasn't given you a representative outing in terms of innings. Matz certainly has not been that guy this year, and there's just been too much inconsistency in getting innings. Logan Gilbert is a guy who this year has thrown 108 innings, last year threw 185, and it seems like he, at the very least, if he's not a number one, if he's not a guy that you throw against the best guys in baseball in game one of a playoff series, he's going to get you to those playoffs by giving you a ton of innings.
Well, Logan Gilbert sounds fantastic, also 26 years old. My question is, what are you going to have to give up? Because they're not just going to give him up. As I was saying, I kind of took a dive this weekend to see what Mariners people are talking about when it comes to Gilbert. They don't really understand or see a scenario where they would give up Gilbert. Mm-hmm. If you're going to give him up, you're going to have to give up a pretty major bat, is what I would assume. So who would that bat be?
I think when you are looking at very good pitching that is going to be in the trade talks and a team wanting or willing to give up a pitcher, they obviously need hitting in return. And you're going to be looking at Nolan Gorman. You're going to be looking at one of those guys that you think is going to be a star. They're not going to want Brendan Donovan with all 5 of his gloves. He's spectacular for us, but they're not going to want that. They're going to want a guy who has the potential to hit the ball out of the park and put butts in seats, and that is Nolan Gorman. And if you're the Cardinals, you need pitching, desperately need pitching, but getting rid of someone like Nolan Gorman in this moment, I don't think that that's the route you need to go. Right? Teams are not going to, if Dylan Carlson can't get on the field for us, teams are not clamoring for Dylan Carlson, nor Tyler O'Neill. Those are not real potential trade pieces for this Cardinals team.
And with the Mariners, you've got Kelenic, you've got Teoscar Hernandez, you've got Julio Rodriguez. You're looking for an outfielder. Their issues are on the infield, and specifically, ironically, with Colton Wong at second base. Wonger's hitting only 161 with a 458 OPS. They need help on the infield. They need a Donovan or a Gorman on the infield. And by the way, Mike Ford, their DH, only has a no, he's fine, but he just doesn't have enough at-bats. He's come up, he's 30 years old, and he's only got 98 at-bats, but they're looking for, I would think, either DH or middle infield help. And J.P. Crawford isn't going anywhere as their shortstop either. He's got a 770 OPS, but he's elite defensively, and I don't think they want to move him. So I would think they're looking middle infield or maybe third base, which fits what Nolan Gorman would provide them.
And if you're the Cardinals, that's not something you should be willing to relinquish. That's because I feel like, and you've seen him starting to heat up lately. I think when he's on, he's going to be a very, very good baseball player and all-star caliber player.
I agree with that. But if you can get an all-star caliber starter and you have a DH that you're paying $87.5 million to over the next 4.5 years, then I think you're going to have to find a spot for him. Because you can't catch, as we've, I think, all learned, you can't catch Wilson Contreras. He's not going to be a 120 game catcher for you.
No.
He just can't be that guy. So you've got to use him as a DH. And if you're going to have Donovan / Edman / Gorman, you can't play all three of them.
No, and that's where you have to move one of these guys. And we keep talking about getting to that puke point, painful trades. Maybe that would be a Nolan Gorman. I wouldn't like to see him go because I think we all know where he's going to end up. No matter what team he's with, he's going to be a future all-star. We're going to see him in the home run derby just absolutely mashing. But at the same time, this is the position that the Cardinals have put themselves in where they're going to have to make a painful trade. There's no way around it at this point because there's a big deficiency in your starting rotation, and it's not something that's just going to be for this season. It's moving forward. And if you're building for 2024, you have to build for that because guess what? There's not many options.
Okay, so here's an interesting question for you. Last year, at this time of year, the Cardinals were in Washington right at the trade deadline. Juan Soto was out and available, and John Mozeliak made it a point in Washington to go to both Nolan Gorman and Dylan Carlson and say, you aren't being traded. Mm-hmm. Trade deadline this year. If you're the Cardinals and you can get, and I think I know your answer, CD, but if you can get Logan Gilbert for Gorman and Clayton Beeter, the other pitcher, the other young pitcher that Derek Gould referenced at STLtoday.com. If you can get that AAA pitcher, big horse, good prospect, in exchange for Dylan Carlson. Carlson for Beeter, Gorman for Gilbert. Do you do it?
That's tough. I think you might have to. You might have to.
I can't let Nolan Gorman go.
Okay.
I see the superstar potential in him.
It hurts.
Yeah, and I get it. And if I'm the Cardinals, I'm going to have to, in free agency, be willing to go above and beyond what I have in the past to go get one of these guys.
They're still going to have to go out and get an Aaron Nola, and they're going to have to swim in waters that they've never swam in before, because Aaron Nola, at the very least, is going to get the Washington deal that Scherzer got, 7 years and $210 million. That's 7 times 3 is 21, right? So that's $30 million a year. They're going to have to do that. They're going to have to swim in those waters. But if I can take my chances with Aaron Nola, Miles Michaelis, Gilbert, and then at the back of my rotation, I've got people like Matz and Beeter and Graceffo and Liberatore and McCreevy battling for the 4 and 5 spots. I'll roll the dice on that, I think. And I hate giving up those guys. And my outfield turns into, here's another problem that they have. You're going to have to play Donovan at second every day because Edman's going to be your center fielder. Walker's going to be your right fielder. Well, Newt. No, Edman.
I think Edman would be your center fielder.
So Newt in left and Walker in right. And you got to find Alec Burleson is then your fourth outfielder. And Contreras has to be your designated hitter in that scenario, but right? And so you're going to have either Herrera or Kisner behind the plate.
Which is more important for this Cardinals organization getting in the future? Is it swing and miss pitching, or is it left-handed power hitting?
It's going to be pitching. It's always going to be pitching.
And that's the thing. Is as much as I love Gorman, as much as I love the idea the Cardinals finally developed a left-handed power hitter, Logan Gilbert is a pitcher with the swing and miss level of stuff that is not in the Cardinals organization aside from maybe a Tink Hence. And
Chase Davis is on the way.
Again, and so even if you have a Graceffo and a McGreevy, you do need a Logan Gilbert profile pitcher if you're going to be winning in 2024 because he has swing and miss stuff, and that's the bottom line.
Low Gil.
You all just aren't willing to pay more in free agency.
I have to get my number one in free agency. I have to get that guy.
So you are going to overpay for that one because you have to this time. Because there's so many times where the Cardinals haven't, when it comes to outbidding people, they haven't. I think that has to change this offseason. And
Logan Gilbert, although really in apples and oranges, but Logan Gilbert, the Logan Gilbert sort of quality, if you go free agency and that pitcher is 28, 29, 30, 31, 32 years old, it's going to cost you $17 million a year.
Okay.
So, you've got your number one at $30 million a year. Then you got Michaelis at $20 million a year, and then you're going to have to get two other guys at $15 to $17 million a year.
They got to be willing to go do something in free agency to
get their number one. There's no doubt about it because, maybe things change and Cease becomes available, but you better know.
Right now, it doesn't seem like it.
No. And Glass now, and he's been hurt a lot. he's no sure thing. Aaron Nola's going to be the beacon. He's going to be the number one. And by the way, there's going to be a lot of people interested in Aaron Nola.
Oh, yeah.
So it'll be interesting. But the Cardinals, with the trade deadline 2 weeks away, and we know that they're talking about things, but you're welcome for the advice, Mo and Gersh and the gang. So, and we'll have more for you over the course of time here on 101 ESPN. But coming up next, the St. Louis Blues, here we are. We're getting close to training camp, and they've still got stuff going on. Toropchenko gets a 2-year contract. We're going to talk to the voice of the Blues, Chris Kerber, about that and more next on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you're a homeowner and you're thinking about selling your home now, why risk working with just any agent hoping to find the perfect buyer? Get to know Gloria Liu, because Gloria already has buyers in place, and she also has cash buyers who'll buy your home as is with no hassles, no repairs, and you even choose your closing date. Gloria's been amazing for a long time, and if you need a reliable, experienced, and trusted agent, she's the one to talk to at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888. I mentioned that Gloria already has the buyers in place. She's able to guarantee the sale of your home in writing because of those buyers. Thousands of ready buyers from over 20 years of an exclusive database looking to buy in your neighborhood and in your price range. That's how Gloria gets you the most money and creates the highest demand. Many times with multiple offers, which means more money in your pocket. Get in touch with Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
The opening drive on 101 ESPN.
With Brooke Grimsley and Kerry Davis, I'm Randy Carricker. It's great to have you with us on the opening drive on KMOX. You know, I met Chris Kerber. Chris Kerber was I was going to bring this up. And Chris Kerber's with us now. We are actually on 101 ESPN. But Kerbs was an intern of mine at KMOX back in the day and was sensational. And at that time, and Kerbs, I'm not putting him on the spot or anything because he put it up on Facebook over the course of the weekend. But we have Chris back. So Chris's mother had just passed, and it's just one of the more incredible stories. And so I've known this story for 30 years, but it's one of the more incredible stories that I've ever heard when Chris's mom, Chris Kerber's mom, was going to receive a degree, and she was wheelchair bound at that time. And Kerbs joins us now on 101 ESPN, not KMOX. Kerbs, good morning. It's great to have you with us. And I was heartened by this story 30 years ago, and I still am. Can you tell people about that day and you pushing the wheelchair?
Yeah, Randy, thanks. Yeah, it was just a few days ago, the 13th of July, was 30 years since she had passed. And I'm the second oldest of 9 kids, as a lot of people know. So I had my youngest sister was only 12 at the time, but Mom was always huge on education. You know, we were living out in the Rockwood School District when the Rockwood School District was really young and in its infancy. And for example, like at Chesterfield Elementary, where there were about 4 or 5 of us at one point in time, I think anytime she pulled into the parking lot, the principal had a button under his desk that sent an alarm through every classroom, right? And said, hey, teachers, sharpen up. Here comes Mrs. Kerber. Because, well, she had not finished school herself. She was just self-educated and made sure that she was on top of things. So, things as small as this, right? You know, my brother Kevin was always bouncing off the walls, and she'd send him to school with a bag of peanuts, and she'd tell the teacher, just right about 9 or 10 in the morning, go ahead and feed him. He'll calm down. And they're like, well, we can't do that because the other kid. She goes, okay, well, then you deal with them. Right? So sure enough, they'd send him into the hallway, did a little bag of peanuts. You know, the idea of like eating a little bit more often kind of thing, right? So anyway, I say that because education was so important. Well, she finally, as you know, the kids were getting a little bit older, and we were all getting a tad older. She said she'd gone back to school, so she went to UMSL, did some work with the student radio station there, and got into mass communications and production. Well, it would have been December. Right around December, she was dealing with back pain and stuff, and then they couldn't figure out what it is. Right about December of '92, they determined it was cancer, and she basically had 6 months to live. It had metastasized throughout her entire body at that point in time, and she dealt with, she was a smoker. She dealt with alcoholism. You know, at times it pulled us into the room, said, "I'm checking myself into a hospital because you guys don't know, but I've been picking you up sometimes drunk," and so we dealt with that as a family, and the good and the bad and everything that goes with it. But she always stayed steadfast. Her kids were the most important thing. She always pushed education, and she ended up finishing her college degree in May of '93. Just basically, maybe even it was June when she actually had her graduation, just about a month before she passed. So we got her out of the car and into her wheelchair at the UMSL graduation. And I was supposed to, when her name was called, wheel her to the front of the stage, and the dean was supposed to come and hand her, because she could barely walk, right, and hand her diploma at the front of the stage. Well, I get to the right side of the stage, and she says, "Stop." And I go, "Okay." Even then, you did what you said, right? There was no arguing with mom and dad back in those days, right? And so she got up, she lifted herself out of the wheelchair, walked up the stairs, walked across the stage, got her diploma, came across the stage, sat down in the wheelchair on the other side of the stage when she came down the stairs, looks at me and says, "I told you education was that important."
Wow.
And I'm like, it truly is one of the more powerful, things I had seen, because I'm telling you, she could barely walk. We had to basically lift her to get her into the wheelchair. And then a month later, when she passed on July 13th, I mean, she was 89 pounds at that, the night before, and I was in the room with her, and you had to give her water through a syringe. Like, it was difficult. And, but there was the power of the human mind. Like, one more quick one, if I can indulge you, Randy, I guess, so my sisters, I had a sister that was, one of my sisters was about to graduate, and mom wanted them to see some of the ruins in Greece. So she sent 2 of my sisters with their aunt over to Greece. Well, Mom basically had to be told at that point in time, hey, let go. Like she was fighting so hard, like let go. It'll be okay. And before she lost her ability to talk, she says, not while the kids are over in Europe. I don't want this to happen while they're over there. And I've never seen, I learned so much about how strong the human mind can be, because it was right when two of my sisters landed basically from Greece. My dad said to my mom, Nor, they've landed, and it was about 10 minutes later she passed away. Wow. So I saw just the power of the human mind. And I don't bring that up for people to be sad. I don't bring that up for people to be upset. The thing for me when it comes to that story is the story of strength, the story of resilience, the story of battle. Like I said, she battled alcoholism for a long time. It was a family addiction, but even then she could still she battled through. And she ended up losing the battle, but I think it's a great story of resilience and how you still find a way and everything that she did. And I still, I battle on the education front, kind of in her honor. Also, I realize the level of importance to it. But when people say, I just had lunch with my mom, or we're going to see my mom, I'm genuinely happy. I love hearing those stories because I'm genuinely happy that they have a chance to do that. But it's over time, it's become like memories of strength, if that makes sense.
Sure.
It's a beautiful story, Kerbs. Thank you for sharing that. We wanted to get into some Blues talk here with Alexey Toropchenko. Obviously, the big news from this past weekend, making his signing official. He avoids arbitration and signs for 2 years. That's exciting news. What did you make of all that?
Yeah, you know what? So there's two types of arbitration. One where the team files and one where the player files. What you tend to find in most situations, now sometimes it does get all the way through, but a lot of these situations, it becomes the filing is a trigger point where all of a sudden the award that could come is out of the control of both the team and the player. And it's an outside party trying to figure out what you're worth. And I don't think anybody really likes that. So in the end, his arbitration date would have been July 20th, would have been coming up this week. And they ended up coming to a 2-year deal. That's typically what happens. It's either they figure out how to solve it with term, or the player, doesn't get quite as much as they wanted, and the team doesn't, hold them as low as they wanted. Somewhere in the middle, they find that ground and they do it. I think this is a fantastic one. Alexey Toropchenko continues to grow. He's one of the. You remember when we were actually, Randy? I don't think you were in the Friday. Kerry asked me. He's like, how's the season going to be? And I was honest with him. So, no, you weren't, because you named it. What'd you name it? Hope what?
Yeah, we're high on hopium.
Hopium. Yeah, we're high on hopium. Part of the hopium, I love, man, we got that. Now, that's got to get on a T-shirt. That's the next 101 ESPN T-shirt. We're high on hopium.
Yeah.
I think part of the success for the St. Louis Blues, if they're going to exceed expectations and maybe be more competitive in this retool earlier than Doug Armstrong had planned or the process, is the hopium that some guys are going to perform at a more consistent level maybe than we have seen them, and that includes guys like Verana, Kapanen, and on down the line. Well, young guys like Alexey Toropchenko have got to take the step, and the Blues have opened up the opportunity for them to do it. And so he has. Can he make himself say, I don't want to play 7 minutes on the fourth line. I want to play 12 minutes on the third line. I want to be a penalty killer. I can play even strength 10, 12 minutes on the third line. I can get 3 minutes of penalty kill. I can get 13 to 15 minutes a game. He's got that kind of hockey sense. He's got that attitude. He's got that coachability. He's got that physicality. He can do it. The question is, does he take that next step? So with a 2-year contract, he gets a little bit of security. I think it's a fair contract for what they think of him. They like him a lot. And now we see if he can take that next step. He's one of those guys where, okay, are you ready to take that next step and find it? And, well, we all hope he does.
Kerbs, what do you think the biggest hurdle for this coaching staff is going to be in getting this team to play at the level that you're talking about, this hopium that we have?
I can't tell you how much I love that. You know what, Kerry? That's That's a really good question here because, one, we've got some new members of the coaching staff, right? You got a former NHL defenseman and Mike Weber that'll be taking over for Mike Van Ryan. I think, to me, it's going to require some patience. I think one of the biggest challenges that they're going to have is you've got some veteran players, Parayko, Shen, Perron, and now Kevin Hayes, on the front side, Justin Falk, Nick Leddy, Torrey Krug, and more importantly, Jordan Bennington. And so you've got veteran guys that are like, hey, we don't want to lose. We're better than 500. These guys are going to be pushing the envelope on one side of it. At the same time, if you are going to kind of turn the page to some younger guys, Thomas, Kyrou, new guys coming in, Jake Neighbors, we just mentioned Toropchenko, and some guys like that, you're going to have some patience too because mistakes are still going to get made. So to me, I think one of the great challenges, and I think Craig Berube is one of the best coaches in the National Hockey League at this, is coaching guys up, coaching players up in the National Hockey League while they're playing in the NHL, and doing so while you're still meeting expectations and balancing out that gap between young players and veteran guys. I don't know that in my time in the National Hockey League, I've seen a coach do a better job of advancing NHL players while they're in the NHL. Barbashev, Kyrou, Thomas, and guys like that Craig Berube has done. And I think that's going to be a huge piece for this hockey team this winter.
Kerbs, as always, great stuff. Thanks so much for the time. Thanks for the reminiscences. We appreciate it, and we will talk to you soon.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking about that today, Randy. Thank you very much. You guys have an awesome week. We'll see you during the week.
You bet, Kerbs. Take care. Chris Kerber, voice of the Blues, here on 101 ESPN, joining us. How'd you guys do at the fight on Friday when I was out?
Randy, I did my best. Good job. Good effort.
Okay,
that's all that matters.
I lost in overtime.
Okay.
It happens.
That's good. I've suffered that fate before.
I like how you said that like you didn't already listen and know.
Yeah, I was listening.
Yeah,
it was.
Eric.
I was on my way to the doctor, the cardiologist, and I went in with a sore heart.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I do apologize. I added to that pain, I'm sure. It was all me. I'll take that one.
You weren't high on hopium going?
He was going
I am
in.
today.
Oh, okay.
And Eric will join us to defend his title against
good
Carey.
luck,
Next.
Eric.
101 ESPN. If you head to the Fenton Bar and Grill for lunch today and order the tantalizing cheeseburger, you'll take one bite and say, that is one tasty burger. Because at the Fenton Bar and Grill, their burgers are spectacular. They're well prepared, they're well seasoned, and they are cooked to perfection. So if you want the perfect burger in St. Louis, head to the Fenton Bar and Grill on Rudder Road in Fenton. It's a fantastic place. And beyond burgers, they have terrific salads for the warm weather outside. If you want to enjoy a nice, cool, delicious salad, you can have that at the Fenton Bar and Grill. And don't forget their trash wings. The best wings in town in St. Louis are at the Fenton Bar and Grill. Wonderful people. Say hi to Kelly and Megan and Colleen and Alicia. The whole gang is wonderful. And talk sports, whether it's the Cardinals or we just talk some Blues. Trade deadline coming up. When you go to the Fenton Bar and Grill, you're always going to be wanting to talk sports because the people there are just like us here on the opening drive. And we hope you'll enjoy the fantastic environment, great ambiance, great people, great food, and just a stupendous place. The Fenton Bar and Grill, just go to the soccer park exit, follow the road to the Fenton Bar and Grill, plug it into your GPS, easy to get to, despite some little issues with the road closures. It's not a problem to get to, and enjoy the Fenton Bar and Grill.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals over the weekend took 2 out of 3 against the Washington Nationals. Jack Flaherty with a great start in Game 3 to clinch that series for the Cardinals. They are back in action facing off against the Miami Marlins. It'll be Miles Michaelis back on the bump today for the Cardinals. He pitched just 3 innings on a rain-shortened Friday start, so he's back for the Cardinals. He faces off against Jesus Luxardo for the Miami Marlins. Luxardo on the season, 8-5 with a 3.29 ERA. Also over the weekend, St. Louis City SC continues their winning ways, 3-0 over Inter Miami. That is your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome to the fight. In the red corner, Average Joe Listener. And in the blue corner, the undisputed king of morning drive. Please welcome Randy Carricker.
Welcome back to the opening drive. I'm Kerry Davis, joined by Brooke Grimsley, and it is time for the fight. And our fighter today, again, is Eric, who beat me on a Friday when Randy wasn't here. Eric, how you doing?
Doing great. Yourself?
No, I think you're doing better than I am, but you got to take on Megamind today. You got a tough challenge ahead of you. Are you ready?
I'm ready to go.
All right, here we go. Who led the 2022 Titans in receiving yards with 527? Is it Traylon Burks, Derrick Henry, or Robert Woods?
Robert Woods.
Who was the last pair of brothers to homer in the same game for the same team? Benji and Jose Molina, Bill and Cal Ripken Jr., Justin and BJ Upton.
The Upton brothers.
Which second baseman owns the all-time record for home runs at the position? Is it Jeff Kent, Robinson Cano, or Joe Morgan?
Ooh, I will go Jeff Kent.
Who is the only NFL player to hit multiple inside the park home runs during their Major League Baseball career? Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders, or Brian Jordan?
I'll go Deion.
All right, we'll double check our score and we will bring in Randy Carricker.
Eric, how you feel?
So.
You answered those questions with confidence. You sounded pretty confident with your answers.
They were all educated guesses.
Oh, okay. Well, sometimes it works out for you. When I was in doing my ACT prep, they told me just pick C if you didn't know.
Just do it, yeah. You should always go with your gut feeling. I'm just curious, Eric, what do you do for a living?
Software engineer.
Oh.
There you go.
There you go.
Randy, say hello to Eric.
Eric sounds smart.
Is that why? That's why I wanted to ask. He's just
software engineer.
Very confident.
I don't know what that entails. Maybe you can tell us.
Well,
one day.
Rocc could tell us. He's an engineer.
He's an audio engineer.
Audio engineer, yeah, I don't do software.
Okay. All right.
Oh, okay.
All right, Randy, you ready?
Ready.
Who led the 2022 Titans in receiving yards with 527?
Last year's Titans in receiving yards with stellar 527
Just
yards.
crushing it.
Come on. Come on.
This guy crushed it.
I like how Rocc just wanted to put this in here to just kill me inside.
That's why they had to go get a guy, I guess.
Exactly. Past is the past.
I don't think Burks played enough. I think Derek Mason had retired. I don't think it was Randy Moss.
Kevin Dyson.
What? What?
You said Kevin Dyson?
Yeah.
Quit.
Probably gone. Okay, I will do the lifeline here because I don't think it was
Wow.
Traylon Burks.
With the first
That's a
question.
pretty nondescript group of receivers that they had, apparently.
I concur. Traylon Burks, Derrick Henry, or Robert Woods?
Oh, yeah, I'll go with Robert Woods. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, that was a trip. Anyways, who was the last pair of brothers to homer in the same game for the same team?
I'm going to go with the Uptons, Justin and BJ. They played for the Braves and the Padres at the same time, so I will go with those guys, yeah.
Which second baseman owns the all-time record for home runs at the position?
Pretty sure when he wasn't trying to wash his truck, that Jeff Kent, in between those times, he injured himself washing his truck, and well, he said he was washing his truck. He was actually riding a motorcycle.
Didn't he and Barry get in a fight?
Oh, yeah. Well, Jeff Kent said he wanted to leave baseball with no friends, and then he did.
On a motorcycle.
Yeah. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Who is the only NFL player to hit multiple inside the park home runs during their Major League Baseball career?
Can you repeat that again?
Who is the only NFL player to hit multiple inside the park home runs during their Major League Baseball career?
Okay, so this has to be. Well, it's almost got to be either Bo or Dion, right? I know Dion had at least one. It seems like Bo had at least one too. I'm going to say that most of Bo's went over the fence though. And I'm going to go with prime time. I'm going to go with Deion Sanders as my guy.
Well then, this is interesting because I gotta play something really quick for everybody.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
But we don't have a winner because we have a 4-4 tie between Eric and Randy Carricker on this one, so we will go to a tiebreaker. Eric, you just did a tiebreaker on Friday. You should understand the rules. I'm going to read the question. We will give Randy Carricker a beat to write down his answer. We will then get your answer audibly. Randy Carricker will confirm his answer, and then who's ever closest to the pin is going to be the winner of today's fight. Eric, do you understand those rules?
I do.
And Randy Carricker, do you understand the rules?
Yeah, I understand.
Do you have paper?
I do. I have my notes from the NFL lawsuit.
So,
it's a yellow legal pad, kids.
Fantastic.
And I grabbed it, and it's actually my notes from the lawsuit that, the more I read my notes, okay, maybe we shouldn't have settled. We got our $790, but maybe we could have gotten more.
All right, here's the question.
Okay.
In 641 career Major League Baseball games, how many home runs did Deion Sanders hit? In 641 career Major League Baseball games, how many home runs did Deion Sanders hit? Just one moment, Eric. Randy Carricker is writing down his answer.
Okay.
Let me see.
And what is your answer, Eric?
It's a total set in the dark. I don't think he was a big power hitter. I'm going to go 42.
And Randy Carricker, what was your guess?
I went with 9.
Very different numbers here between Randy and Eric. Who is closer to the pin? Who is the winner of today's fight? Ring that bell.
The winner and still Still champion of the fight, Average Joe listener.
The Fight is presented by Golf Discount of St. Louis. With the most experienced club fitters in town. Why shop anywhere else?
Congratulations, Eric. You took down Randy Kerber this time with a tiebreaker. Deion Sanders hit 39 career home runs. You were just 3 off. Eric, great job guessing there on the tiebreaker, and great job getting all 4 right there. You will go for a Hall of Fame battle against Randy Kerber tomorrow morning.
Excellent. Excited. Can't believe it.
Good job.
Good job, man.
Shocking there. And I mean, if you guys weren't paying attention, you got all the answers. But just in case you weren't, the leader of the 2022 Titans in receiving with 527 yards was, in fact, Robert Woods. That is the 4th lowest since 2000 to lead a team in receiving. I'm sure one of the Rams teams is
I would think so. Yep.
on that list somewhere. Who was the last pair of brothers to homer in the same game for the same team? Not only that, but they both hit their 100th career home run in this game. It was August 3rd, 2012. Justin and B.J. Upton for the Atlanta Braves. Jeff Kent, 354 home runs, number 1 on the list ahead of Robinson Cano with 335. And Deion Sanders has 2 inside the park home runs. Bo Jackson's got the 1. The other person on the list, Brian Jordan, put all of his over the fences. So the only NFLer with 2 or more inside the park home runs is, in fact, Deion Sanders. And those 2 part of his 39 career home runs. So Eric, again, with a shot at the Hall of Fame tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining the fight and joining the show today, Eric. We will talk to you tomorrow.
All right, see you guys.
Thank you,
Eric.
Eric with us on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we've got the Bird Watch for you.
Hey, it's here. The heat, humidity, scorching, sweaty temps. Those temps forcing your AC into overdrive, leading to sky-high energy bills. The solution? New windows from my friends at Window Nation. Save thousands today with no money down, no payments, and pay no interest for 2 years. Plus, Window Nation will give you 2 free windows with every 2 you buy, and you can get a pair of cards tickets with a purchase of a house of windows. Protect and increase the value of your home today. Call 866-90-NATION or go online at windownation.com. Did you know new windows can save you up to 30% on your energy bills? It can increase the value of your home by $12,000 and give you those jealous neighbors. Yes, those jealous neighbors that are peering and looking in to see what you've done with your windows. If you have sticky, drafty, cracked, hard to open or close windows, well, you need new windows, and Window Nation has installed nearly 2 million windows with a 96% satisfaction rate, making them one of the top companies in the country. Remember, 2 free windows with every 2 you buy. Call today, 866-90-NATION, or go online at windownation.com.
All right, time for a little bird watch. But before we get to the bird watch,
there's some controversy.
We got baseball facts for you.
Because something happened this past weekend that kind of makes question number 2 that we just dealt with incorrect.
What happened?
Who was the last pair of brothers to homer in the same game for the same team? Well, Randy and Eric both said Justin and BJ Upton, which is true, but
what's the correct answer though, Brooke?
Bo and Josh Naylor.
Oh, when did that happen, Brooke?
Friday.
Nah.
And the question was written on Friday before that game.
I wrote the question at like 1:30 p.m. on Friday. No joke. Had no relation to that event happening. It just popped up. Something popped up on it, and I jumped on the question. And what the?
That's awesome.
Oh man,
beautiful.
It's cool. Okay.
Controversy.
So the Cardinals win 2 out of 3. They win yesterday. They provided 60-cent drinks today at Mobile on the Run.
Nice.
And we've got not bird droppings today, but bird watch for you. Brooke, what do you got?
Well, my bird watch is going to be Brendan Donovan. So he's still working on fully recovering when it comes to him being back in the outfield or whatever position you really want to put him in. But he's doing so well offensively that you can't just bench him, despite him still recovering. In his last 10 games, Bally Sports Midwest put this graphic up last night. In his last 10 games, 14 hits, 378 average, 1047 OPS, 9 RBIs. He is somebody that has been very key for them, top of the order, really setting the table, and his value just continues to skyrocket. I liked what the Mad Hungarian also said last night during the broadcast. He called him a throwback player because we were talking about those gritty players that, are just willing to fully lay it out there, continue to push, and, not saying that all these players aren't doing that, but isn't there a clear difference that you see in Brendan Donovan and his ability to kind of just continue to push through, push back, find ways to where you can't bench him, essentially.
Right. Yeah, he's a key component of this team, and he's, for what baseball is now, not what I would want, but for what baseball is now, he's an ideal leadoff hitter. I would want somebody who can steal a base for you, but he's a guy, actually, you can hit Brendan Donovan anywhere in the lineup. He's just a really good hitter.
You can, and his baseball instincts are just so high. He's so valuable, and I was saying last week, that's a player where when you're making these tough trades, where you're going to have to make a painful trade, likely, and move on from some guys, Brendan Donovan continuing to do this is what at least encourages me and makes me feel a little bit better with parting with some guys.
He kind of feels like one of those guys that has had to scrap his entire life just to prove that he deserves an opportunity. He's not, the idea. When you look at some players, you're like, oh, that's a guy.
Jordan Walker.
He can play that. I want that guy, right? When you see certain players, when they get off the bus in football, you're like, oh, yeah, that guy can play, just based on their physique and how they carry themselves. He seems like a guy that has probably had to scrap and fight his way. He was a 7th-round draft pick, just have to claw, and finally has an opportunity to play every day, and he's not going to let that go. He's leading off. He's doing a fantastic job getting on base, hitting the ball in the gaps. He is one of your better players, and I don't want to see him. I wouldn't want to see him leave either. So I agree with you, Brooke. He's done a fantastic job, and he is that gritty, scrappy kind of guy that this team needs.
You can see that in his play, what you're talking about. You can see that in his play. Military background, was born in Germany, I believe, and that's been a huge part of his upbringing, is that he said he had to move around so much just growing up in the military that he had to get used to that.
I would have thought he would have got a haircut.
Maybe at one point. He didn't go into the military, obviously.
Oh, true.
So, but just a military brat.
I'm going to go with Paulie. Paul Goldschmidt, he is your former MVP 2022 season, and he is leading this team in hits. He is leading this team in OPS. He is second in batting average. He is doing what MVPs do. He is being what we expected to see him do. And Jim Edmonds has talked about that Miami series, how he struggled and just wasn't seeing the ball well. He is seeing it very well now. He's hitting the ball hard, hitting it in gaps, hitting it over the fence. And this is the Paul Goldschmidt. This is the lineup that I think we thought we were going to get from this Cardinals team. Just the consistency that you've been seeing over these last couple of series right before the break and now coming out of the break. This is what you needed to see from this team. if the pitching was available the entire season and healthy and going in the direction that they needed to go, this team would obviously be much better, which is also part of the reason why I don't necessarily want to see any of these guys in the lineup moved or sent. And I know that's part of trading and getting pieces back, but what Paul Goldschmidt does in this lineup and the characters that are surrounding him, I love seeing him, and he's doing a fantastic job.
I agree with you, and he doesn't look like he's going away. He
doesn't.
Right? He just looks like a guy that is so consistent. And I was always concerned about where he had his bat on his shoulder, but he's not losing any quickness, any bat quickness. His hands are still there. I'm with you. He's a stud.
That man doesn't consume any sugar or really any sodium.
Who hurt him?
It's working for him.
It's
Didn't
worked out
Tom
pretty well,
Brady
Randy.
do the same thing, essentially?
It's worked out pretty well. Tom Brady.
Yeah, well.
His body, their physiques don't look the same, though.
Yeah.
No, there's a difference.
No sugar?
No sugar or salt.
What is wrong
That is
with
a
him?
hard
And she
life,
still broke up
buddy.
with him.
That's true.
That's because they lost $38 million on a NFT.
Well,
On an NFT.
I think
Was it Bitcoin or was it NFT? Probably. I don't understand any of that stuff.
FTX was
FTX,
crypto.
dude.
That's where I'm not like a
stuff,
millennial.
stuff
I
that's
sound
not
like a
real.
boomer where I'm like, oh, what's an NFT? What do you do with that?
if I'm not mistaken,
Is it
though,
at a store?
it was his continuing affair with football that actually caused the issue.
Well, she married a football player. I'm married to the game,
And then
baby.
said, yeah, well, will you retire? He said, yeah. And then 40 days later said, well, no.
This
didn't mean
is
it.
a lot.
Yeah.
Being here
That's
with
because
that,
he
you
couldn't
are.
let Schefter win. That's all that was.
That's true.
Could she blame him for that?
Yeah. Guys, Nolan Arenado is underrated by Cardinal fans. We just don't realize what we have. And you just mentioned Paul Goldschmidt. People on the interweb saying, oh, they should trade Arenado and Goldschmidt. No, they should not.
No.
You don't get better by trading great players and Hall of Fame quality players. Yes, Nolan Arenado had a bad month of April. He's entitled, okay? In May, Nolan Arenado had a 902 OPS, hit 7 homers, drove in 22. In June, he had a 967 OPS, hit 7 homers, drove in 18. This month, he's got a 1.112 OPS. He's already got 4 homers and 10 RBIs. The guy's an absolute stud. Now, is he as good defensively as he was last year? No. He has suffered a drop-off defensively. But Nolan Arenado is the sort of player, Paul Goldschmidt is the sort of player that you have to have on your team if you're going to win championships. You don't get closer to championships by moving players like Nolan Arenado. Appreciate what you have. Don't be the kid that says, I want it, and then once you get the toy, you never play with it.
Yeah.
Appreciate what you have.
Yep.
And that's why they have to go out and add some pieces better around this core with Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt. I'm even putting Jordan Walker in that core. You're not going to move those guys. There's no way that you would and should because of how valuable that they are. And I'm glad. I feel like people have started backing away from the notion that the Cardinals are going to trade Goldschmidt or even Arenado. I feel like that's finally starting to dissipate a little bit.
Yeah, if you will devastate your franchise if you went and had a meeting in California with Nolan Arenado to try to convince him to opt in, and then you try to trade him.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, that would be really, really stupid because every single player in sports would look at the Cardinals and say, what the hell?
Yeah.
So they convinced him to stay so that he couldn't make as much money, and then they trade him to another place?
Yeah, I don't think that would be good for anything in the future
I
for
don't
the
think so either.
Cardinals organization.
There's your Birdwatch on 101 ESPN. Coming up, our rush hour reset. St. Louis City SC is hot, hot, hot. And Bradley Carnell, the coach of St. Louis City SC, is going to join us at 9:15. The rush hour reset, though, is next. Guys, I'm 61. Well, I'm going to be 61 next month, and I have a ton of energy. And I think a lot of that is attributable to Mentality. I go to Mentality every week, and they have an FDA-approved testosterone supplemental treatment that allows you to enhance your testosterone level. And a lot of the fatigue that guys deal with, a lot of the frustrations with fatigue, and a lot of the issues that we have can be traced to a reduction in the level of our testosterone. It happens to every guy beyond their 30th birthday. And if you go to Mentality and get your testosterone level restored to the normal levels that you experienced when you were younger, you won't have that level of fatigue. You'll have that physical stamina to get through runs or bike rides or walking the golf course or something as simple as coaching your kids at night. It makes such a huge difference. All you need to do is go to lowtusa.com, set up your appointment at either their Chesterfield or South County locations. Pretty much everything covered by insurance, and you can feel great. You can be the guy that you want to be and feel like the guy that you want to feel like by going to Mentality at lowtusa.com. It's 9:03 in St. Louis. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke Grimsley, Kerry Davis, Randy Carricker. The Cardinals with an 8-4 win over the Nationals yesterday. The Cardinals get to 40-53 on the season. They're only 13 games under 500. And guys, since that 10-24 start, the Cardinals are over 500. So that's pretty exciting.
That is exciting. That is something.
Yeah.
Does that affect how they approach
30-29
the rest of the season?
Probably not.
I don't know that that's kind of the thought that we were. I don't know if that's what we were going for, Randy.
All right.
It is what it is at this point.
You got a couple of home runs, one from Nolan Gorman, one from Paul Goldschmidt, and the Cardinals, after racing out to a lead of 3-1 and then 4-1, saw it dwindle to 4-3 and then moved ahead 8-3 before winning it by a score of 8-4. Jack Flaherty was terrific for the Cardinals in terms of 2023 standards. He provided a quality start, 6 innings, 3 earned runs, 7 strikeouts. He walked 3 and has a 1.45 ERA and a 3-0 July.
I think just fastball command has gotten a lot better, and so has getting ahead and, then also making pitches when I need to. Even the hit to Dom, I've made a good pitch. Dom's a good player. One of those guys, he's gonna do a good job, and he just, kind of hit the ball where we weren't. And, but as I feel like I made a good pitch even there, kind of navigating that inning, made a pitch to get the punch out to Meneses, and then, you're one pitch away. So, they just did a better job of that.
And the Cardinals, after playing the Marlins for 3, will go on the road. They'll take on the Cubs. So Jack's next start will probably be Friday. And then the Cardinals would remain on the road, and he would get a start against Arizona in Arizona before the trade deadline. So yesterday may have been Jack Flaherty's last Cardinal start at Busch Stadium.
I think it is. I think that it is for him. And as much as you would like to see it work out with him, I think that you have to think about his past with injuries and also just striking when the iron's hot with him. How many times have we talked about sometimes, too, with players that they hold on to for too long that have been injury prone? And Jack has been, in my opinion, I like Jack Flaherty a lot and what he's done with this organization. But when you're talking about looking at value instead of just letting a player walk away, I think you have to field those options.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to understand what the what's going on right now, and he's performing really well. And as you said, Brooke, you don't want guys to just walk off and not get anything in return. So, it's a potential that he will be out of here. He won't be here, in the next couple of weeks because the Cardinals need something in return. And him being a free agent next season, there are no guarantees that he would be resigning here.
And oh, by the way, this is not secondary. 60-cent drinks today at Mobile on the Run.
Very important.
Oh, that is very, very important.
Well, when you're in last place, 60-cent drinks.
They had 13 hits yesterday, 17 the day before, something like that.
Right, 22 runs and 36 hits in the series.
There you go.
Oh, but it's against the Nationals. That's the only thing.
They're a professional. They get paid, too.
They do.
Right?
Yeah, they're right at our
Sure. If that's one way to look at it. I guess one thing that is interesting, though, this past weekend is what happened within the division. What did you guys think of that, of the Brewers taking charge?
Yeah, and
Cardinals
Cincinnati,
didn't move.
We mentioned last week, how the hell is Cincinnati winning?
Yes.
And maybe, you do get the charge from L.A. De La Cruz, but
they're pitching.
Every peripheral,
pitching.
their starting pitching terrible. Their bullpen okay, but their base running terrible. Their defense terrible. It was just a weird thing to see them winning, and now they've lost 4 in a row, and they've fallen 2 games behind the Brewers in the division.
It was an anomaly that they were even doing that and pulling it off.
Their numbers, their numbers aren't as good as the Cardinal numbers.
And we love numbers here, so this is where it just really stumped us.
Analytics are where we're at. Speaking of analytics, one of the numbers that I like is if you don't allow a point for the other team in any sport, you usually win the game. And that's what happened for St. Louis City SC in a 3-0 clean sheet of Inter Miami, which was really cool because they had that Messai guy playing. It was supposed to score 20 goals.
He wasn't.
But he signed with him. He signed with him.
He's not going to play until next week. He just got to.
Did he not have the guts to come and play?
They talked about him being in Publix grocery store shopping.
I saw that.
They are. I don't know if he's able to do that.
Okay.
Across over overseas.
Our guy, who's better than Messai, returned, Edward Leuven. And
that's why he didn't want to play.
That's what it was.
He didn't want to be overshadowed.
Yeah.
He didn't. And Leuven turned a 2-0 City lead into a 3-0 City lead.
5-man Miami wall. Leuven standing over the free kick for St. Louis City. And he scores! Leuven hits the net. Miami unraveling somewhat before the unveiling. But with Leuven back, you bring back a touch of class. This is lovely from Leuven. Just up and over into that far corner.
Touch of class there.
Touch of class.
Just a touch.
Yeah.
I love that.
Lovely goal.
I love that. I love accents so much.
Beautiful. Adeniran and Parker also scored for SC, and now they are 4 points clear of second place LAFC in the Western Division standings. Real Salt Lake is also at 37 points, but City SC is playing great now, and they've played great all season. It's really remarkable when you think about it. 13 wins, 2 draws, and 8 losses, and anytime they have any sort of adversity, they rebound in great fashion. So congratulations to City SC. The MLS All-Star game is on Wednesday. The All-Stars take on Arsenal. Beat Arsenal. And then Sunday they face off against
Columbus Crew.
Columbus Crew. Let's beat them. And that's the first game on the League Cup group stage.
Yes. It's interesting because we were talking about it, Rockio. They're going to have a long break from the regular season, essentially, so they'll be able to stay this way in the standings.
Yeah, they're going to come back on August 20th against Austin, and it'll be, the standings will
and
not
Klaus,
have changed.
Maybe?
Klaus should be healthy. If they go further in the League's Cup, let's say they make it to the later rounds, I wouldn't be shocked if we see a tune-up 20 minutes for João Klaus, kind of how we saw Edward Leuven over the last 2 games get like 20 minutes and then get 30 minutes to kind of tune him up. So if they go further, but if they were to get eliminated in the group stages and all they have in the League Cup is Columbus Crew next Sunday and then Club America on the 27th, that's a whole 3-week period where they won't be playing any games. Klaus O'Hunter's will be back. Joachim Nielsen will be back at that point, and he'll be able to train with the team a little bit as well, in training, as they like to call it, Randy. Everything's going to be the same, and if anything, you're going to be an even deeper team coming back.
Get those boots back on.
There you go.
And this is fun. I talk about Schnucks all the time because I love Schnucks. And Schnucks and Every True Tiger announced a new partnership to develop a variety of products exclusive to Schnucks in its home markets that'll feature Mizzou student athletes. The first-of-its-kind program features student athletes from various sports at Mizzou on a variety of products through the new name, image, and likeness rules where college athletes can be compensated. So if you go to Schnucks, pick up any of the items with the Mizzou student athletes on them. That'll go into the Every True Tiger Fund, and you'll be able to contribute to NIL at the University of Missouri through our friends at Schnucks.
That's really cool. I heard that Tennessee is having a deal with Chick-fil-A.
Ooh, smart.
Yeah. It's a joke
there.
because the Chick-fil-A bags.
Chick-fil-A bags.
Oh, Chick-fil-A. Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Got it.
Just kidding.
Got it. You know what's weird is that company Morgan & Morgan, the law firm that's all over TV.
Yeah.
They're like, they're all over Georgia athletics. So
really?
Yeah, but they come here, right? And they're more than willing to take our money, but are they putting it back into Mizzou or Illinois? I don't think that's fair.
Good question.
So Morgan & Morgan people, I know you're listening. Do some Mizzou NIL stuff.
There you go.
Please. Okay. So and thank you to Schnucks and keeping those players going. NIL is amazing. Did I tell you guys? Eli Drinkwitz told me that he thinks the average SEC starting player this year is going to make $100,000.
Starting player.
So, for example, quarterback gets $500,000, right? But then the offensive lineman might get 25 apiece or something like that.
Randy.
Good
yeah.
God.
So starting 22, average in the SEC. Some schools are going to make more than others. But yeah, the average starter in the SEC is going to make about $100,000.
We were scraping together cash.
It's unbelievable.
Go buy a pizza from across the street at Jewel Osco.
Isn't that amazing? It's amazing.
I'm not exaggerating. Like, you got $2 here. You got 85 cents.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's crazy.
6 figures.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
And that's the average. Some players are going to make, like Luther Burden, I'm sure is doing very well for himself, right?
Oh, my God. He's everywhere.
Yeah.
I see him on TV commercials. He has the chips deal. He has everything.
So Kaufman and Townsley, there's a law firm. There's a law firm that's supporting this.
We're going to applaud that.
Yeah. It's just interesting. And so thanks to our friends at Schnucks. Coming up, we mentioned the red-hot St. Louis City SC. Their coach, Bradley Carnell, joins us next on the opening drive on 101 ESPN.
Live from the Car Shield studio, this is the opening drive on 101 ESPN. It's the only way City knows how to play.
Oh, that's completely given away. And it's an equalizer.
In a word, chaos.
Oh, it's a giveaway to Klaus, who flips it over Diego and scores a wonderful goal.
We're breaking down City SC on the opening drive in our weekly segment we like to call Controlled Chaos.
Brought to you by Keystone Event Staffing. Better people mean better events.
Vassilev with a corner. St. Louis's fourth of this scoreless game. Adederan's there. Parker's there. They got another one. Lumen standing over the free kick for St. Louis City. And he scores!
What started off to be a fairy tale has become business, right? It sparked an appetite, a hunger for more. And when I see the players, the way they perform tonight, knowing that there's a little break coming up, knowing that there's Leagues Cup, knowing, that essentially from a mental standpoint, you can at least switch off for a few days, right? So this has been massively important for us.
Bradley Carnell, head coach of St. Louis City SC, joins us now on the Celebrity Line on 101 ESPN with Brooke Grimsley and Super Bowl champion Kerry Davis. I'm Randy Carricker. And Bradley, thanks for joining us this morning. How are you doing?
Very well, and you, Randy. Thanks for having me this morning.
We're thrilled to have you with us. Why is your team so resilient? Why does it deal with adversity so well?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, I think it's the chemistry and the culture we've built within this team, and then the individuals and the desire and the hunger for more and setting high standards. And whether we're playing ping pong, before training, or whether we're on the field in training, or whether we're playing competitive games, there just seems to be a willingness and a hunger to succeed.
It must be nice getting back Leuven as well in that game that you guys had. What does his return mean for you guys?
Yeah, he's been on our door every single day, wanting more minutes, and we don't want to make any rash decisions and mistakes and, get him too soon, too early on the field. And we're trying to progress him along in the best way possible for the players' health interest as well. So, but you see when he gets on the field, he's a difference maker, right? So we know we're going to have great times with the Edu down the stretch here. Getting him those sort of targeted minutes were really vital for his progressions, and it's a joy to watch. And when he's on a dead ball situation like he was the other night, you almost think you got a half a chance, and definitely that was the case on the other night. And very happy for him to come back. Just these moments of success, brings our group one step forward, as well as his mentality, his desire, his confidence in his body again. So to see him operating, I would say still at 60, 70, 80%, gives us much hope for down the stretch here.
You all are playing really well right now. Excuse me. And you talked about earlier about having a little bit of a break coming up. What does that break look like for you all? And does training still take place, or are guys going to get just full rest while this time is taking place?
Yeah, great question. So, we gave the guys 3 days off straight away after the game. We'll have a training session on Wednesday, except Roman Berkey and Tim Parker. They represented our club at the All-Star game, which is a fantastic achievement, in the first year running with us, and Tim Parker getting his first All-Star call-up ever of his career. So, these guys got a bit of work to do, and then we'll tackle Leagues Cup. We play a very competitive Columbus Crew team. They're really doing some great things on the Eastern Conference. And then, probably the pinnacle of many of our careers right now is coming up against teams of the stature and nature of Club America. So, going pound for pound with teams like this only makes us grow stronger to prepare us for that 20th of August game against Austin.
And I would think, Bradley, I know in a lot of the non-league games, you like to get a look at some of the players that don't get much time during the regular MLS season. I would think, especially against a Club America, guys really want to play in that game, right?
Sure, 100%. Club America is playing like the Barcelona or Real Madrid of the European game, or the Bayern Munichs of the world. So we want to play the best players or the best games possible. And I think you've seen over the last couple of weeks with the condensed schedule that we've had, we've been able to be flexible. We've been able to rotate, and we've still been able to be pretty competitive. So, I expect this stretch now to be no different.
Okay, I loved your line that we heard before we got started, this fairy tale has turned into business. If I would have told you before the opener against Austin that you would be sitting at first place at the All-Star break, what would you have thought?
I would have told you we've always had confidence in our abilities, whether as a club, even though we're a brand new club, the personnel, the people, we believe in people and good people at that. So we have confidence in what we are doing. We have belief in what we are doing. And sometimes those are two difficult things to stop. So would I believe you? Maybe not. But would I believe in my abilities? Maybe yes. So, I'm just saying, like, everybody who's in those four walls has a belief and has a higher standard. That's something I've never really seen before.
And as you guys take a break from regular season play, as we mentioned with Leagues Cup action, you have to feel great about the position you'll be back in once you guys return to regular season play with, I assume, the return of João Klaus. How is he progressing?
Yeah, João had another MRI on Friday of last week. So, we are going to start progressing him along slowly. I would, I wouldn't set it in stone that he's there for the Austin game, but we're progressing him towards with a sort of pencil marking that date in, if that could be a possibility. But having good, strong, healthy players and having a squad that's competing on all fronts, is very good for sort of, I think the continued success of our group. We don't want to rest on our laurels. We don't want to rest on, just 4 or 3 or 2 individuals to get us over the hump here. We want to try and invest in everybody. We have invested in everybody, and we believe we're going to need everyone down the stretch.
Bradley, can you talk to us about just the mindset of your team? It seems like every week you got new guys in places, and they're all playing well. You get Sam Adeniran, you get Miggy doing things, you got AZ Jackson, and those are the guys that, seemed like they just came out of nowhere for us. What have you seen about this team that has gave you confidence to know that these guys are going to be able to perform well?
For us as a group and as an organization, it's good to have starting points, right? It's good to have principles and the way we play and the culture we wanted to build, right? So some players, it might take a little bit longer. Some players, they hit straight off the bat and it runs, from day one. And we've seen guys arriving at different points through the season. So, when guys have arrived and finally the penny's dropped and we get guys in and understand now what we are trying to do, what it is to be a great teammate, what it is to, adopt the principles and apply the principles. And they've all come at different stages. So, it's almost been like a bump of fresh air every time a new arrival comes. And I'm saying a new arrival, just meaning that the guy or the players finally understood now what it means to wear a City Red jersey. So, we're enjoying this breath of fresh air every couple of weeks with guys bumping up and stepping up and performing. And then when you get guys going down through injury or suspension, then it's a great platform for them to step up and own the responsibility. So, it's been great.
Is that something that you put solely on yourself and the coaches, or do your players also help with that transition when guys are coming up?
Yeah, listen, we believe in ownership and accountability, right? So taking responsibility for your actions, and we get to see how this ownership group operates every single day, how close they are connected to the team, the humility, the drive, the sort of key attention to details, and the success that they have as an organization. These are great role models for us and as coaches and as players. So we just try to operate in the footpaths and the footsteps within the ownership group, and try and instill that in the younger players, trying to instill that in seasoned veterans, and trying to instill that in our young journey as coaches or as a club.
Along those lines, Bradley Carnell, head coach of St. Louis City SC, with us on 101 ESPN. Is there a player or two that in this first half of the season who we in the media don't give a ton of glory to, but you watch on tape all the time and say, that's a necessary player for us? Somebody who doesn't put up a ton of numbers, but just goes out and does his job all the time.
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many wonderful stories throughout the season. And it would be really tough to signal out one, but I would, the story of a Kyle Hebert, I love the story of an underdog, where somebody no one's believed in and sort of looked over, and then you give somebody a chance and a platform based on their physical tools and physical profile, and they're able to do a job, right? So a Kyle Hebert, a great success story there, in my opinion. Celio Pompeu, what a story coming out of college. So these guys, undrafted, I love the the American system and just how, sometimes that college system can be overlooked. And our philosophy, needs a different kind of recipe, right? And sometimes that gets overlooked too. So, we kind of get everybody's nobodies, and we like to work with that, right? So, and I would say those are two names, but I mean, there's so many to mention. We could go to the expansion draft, even like an Indy Vasilev or Joe Akini. Like, these are guys that nobody really regarded, and that's why they were left them, free and unattached. So we picked them up, and they're doing great things. And I think we could go around the horn with just about every player.
Bradley, great stuff. Thanks so much for the time. By the way, is it okay if we continue to experience this as a fairy tale?
Why not? Let's keep going.
Love it. Hey, have a great break, at least during the All-Star break, and we will talk to you very soon. Thanks very much for the time.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Bradley Carnell, the head coach of St. Louis City SC, the Western Conference leading St. Louis City SC in their inaugural season in MLS.
It is a fairy tale.
It is. It's amazing. It's
money on
really,
that
really
shit.
cool. And you know what? They're fun. They're the system that Lutz and Bradley have implemented and employed is really fun soccer. Sometimes you watch soccer and it's not super entertaining. The way they play, to me, is really entertaining.
It is. It's that style of play, the pace of play that they're able to just continue. That was a big topic of discussion that we had, even, of if they would be able to sustain this, and they have. And you have a system that's working out so well, giving credit to Lutz and Carnell, that they were able to implement, where not only it's a system that's working out for your star players, but it's something that is also translating to some of the younger players that we're bringing up and guys who weren't necessarily stars elsewhere.
And I think a big part also is that you expect from this system to get the excitement from the in the run of play goals.
Yeah.
But that was goals 16, 17, and 18 from set pieces that leads the entire league. And there's nothing more exciting than watching Leuven just completely bend it like that into the goal, or to watch them just set it.
Touch a class.
Touch a class.
This was a
And
lovely
then
goal.
also the fact that they are dominating teams on crosses and corners. If they get enough corners, either a Denoran or Parker or somebody's going to find their head on it. They're killing it right now.
I need to know what their conditioning regimen is. I need to go over there
Too
and
much.
Run a lot.
I need to know.
Wait, that would be a great idea if we
I
did
want to
that.
know. Well, I want to do it for my kids.
My heart's not that good.
I thought you wanted to get out there.
Well, so here's the thing. I actually, when I was playing football, we did train with some soccer players, college
really?
soccer players. They have this test. I don't know the actual name for it, but I call it the beep test. So you have to
I know what you're
get
talking
to
about.
certain
Yeah.
lines before the beep. The hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. It was so bad that I did it on a Friday. I called the trainer on Monday. I said, "Yeah, I'm still not okay. I'll see you."
You think you ever ran 3 miles in a game?
No.
Well, that's why.
That test. If somebody out there plays soccer, and you could tell, I just know it's the beep test.
I think it is the beep test.
It is the hardest thing. I thought I was going to die. I've never thrown up in a workout, but I almost.
Wow.
It's intense.
It was right there, and I'm going home. I ain't got nothing. And I'll see you. It took me 5 days to get back together.
Well, it's kind of like, it's interesting if you ask like track and field athletes, like especially for the sprinters, like when's the last time like you ran like a couple of miles? They'll be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because that's just not how they train. It's what you've been trained for. It's interesting.
It's amazing. Coming up, the trade deadline in Major League Baseball is less than 2 weeks away. Who is on the block and is the biggest fish out there? That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, you already know that if you get a celebrity green from Clubhouse Turf, you can really practice and improve your golf game with putting and chips and pitches and bunker shots. And all you need to do is go to clubhouseturf.com or call 314-834-2343. But in addition to tour quality celebrity golf greens, Clubhouse Turf also offers a complete line of synthetic turf installations, including sport turf and playgrounds, pet turf, and lawn turf. If you have brown spots in your yard from your pets or areas where you simply can't get the grass to grow, Clubhouse Turf has the solution. Synthetic turf is durable, easily maintained, and sustainable, and it requires no mowing or trimming or watering or fertilizers or chemicals. It's an investment that literally pays for itself. The sport turf installations incorporate the latest technology, athletic fields that can drain 50 inches an hour and can provide evaporative cooling on sweltering hot summer days. Baseball, football, soccer, lacrosse, you name it, Clubhouse Turf has the solution at clubhouseturf.com. Give them a call at 314-834-2343.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. In surprising moves here, Katie Wu on Twitter just announced that the Cardinals have designated left-handed reliever Genesis Cabrera for assignment. Cabrera has been with the team since 2019. Again, that is Katie Wu on Twitter right now reporting on the Cardinals. Speaking of the Cardinals, over the weekend they were able to take 2 of 3 from the Washington Nationals despite multiple rain delays. They are back in action tonight, starting a series against the Miami Marlins. It'll be Miles Michaelis with just 3 innings of work in a rain-shortened start on Friday, back on the bump for the St. Louis Cardinals. He'll face off against the lefty for the Marlins, Jesus Luxardo. Also over the weekend, St. Louis City SC 3-0 over Inter Miami. If you want to hear more STL City talk, you can go to the Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers podcast after the show today and listen to Carrie, Brooke, and Randy talking up with STL City head coach Bradley Carnell. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
As Matthew just told you, Genesis Cabrera, according to Katie Wu at The Athletic, has been DFA'd by the Cardinals. She writes, a surprising move given his presumed trade interest, so he can still be traded within 7 days of being DFA'd. Cabrera appeared in 32 games for the Cardinals, 5.06 earned run average, 1.563 whip. But given his stuff and velocity, when he's right, a contending team is likely to take a chance on him. So Genesis Cabrera is out, and the Cardinals have an extra 40-man roster spot to fill in.
That's intriguing.
Who would that be going to, you think?
That's a great question. I don't know.
That's intriguing. I mean, he's one of the guys I mean, traded maybe, but DFA'd?
Well, and they can still trade him, but maybe something happened. Maybe he wasn't happy with the way things were going, and the Cardinals felt like, okay, well, we've got a ton of left-handers down there. We've got JoJo Romero going now. We've got Zach Thompson available as a lefty out of the bullpen. They could bring Liberatore back. I don't know who they would add to the 40-man, and I don't know if this was a 40-man move or maybe there is a trade in the works where they're getting 2 players back in exchange for 1.
I was wondering that. I also thought with JoJo Romero's recent outings that he has looked pretty good, if what that would mean for Genesis Cabrera. I just wasn't expecting this to happen today.
The other thing that could happen, trying to see if there's anybody on the 60-day that they would be trying to bring back, and there's not. Well, Tyler O'Neill.
That's what I was thinking. Tyler O'Neill possibly returning.
Yep. So maybe that's the move. Maybe Tyler O'Neill is coming back off the 60-day. so that he can be activated.
But Cabrera? Nah.
Interesting that Katie Wu did note that you can be traded within 7 days of being DFA.
Right.
Yeah, maybe
trying to spur interest. And one other note, and this is from Mark Feinstand of MLB, who tweets this morning, it's been well documented that the Yankees are seeking corner outfield help by the trade deadline. But according to sources, New York is also seeking to upgrade its catching, starting rotation, and back into the bullpen in the next 2 weeks. Corner outfield.
Tyler O'Neill.
Dylan Carlson.
Dylan Carlson. Yeah, Dylan Carlson.
Catching.
Andrew Kisner?
There you go.
But
starting rotation. A guy you know.
Montgomery.
The guy you know. And back into the bullpen. And this is Cabrera.
That would be...
Jordan Hicks.
In return for what?
Aaron Judge.
Yeah, okay.
No, that might be part of a deal where you get the beater from the Clayton Beater, the minor league pitcher. Maybe there's a deal to be made there. I know that earlier during spring training, the Yankees were interested in Carlson for Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, and I don't know why he would fit the Cardinals unless they're going to move a middle infielder. He's not that great. But here's another one from Feinstein. The Yankees are closely monitoring the corner outfield market, and one name that's come up for them is Randall Grichuk, an impending free agent making a little more than $3 million for the rest of the season. They may rather have Grichuk, but maybe they could get both. Maybe they could get Grichuk and Carlson. Mm-hmm. There's a lot there. But in terms of the trade deadline and the rumors, the Genesis Cabrera DFA is interesting. I don't know if there's a contender out there. If you're a contender, do you try to deal for a guy with a 5.06 earned run average, or do you just let him clear waivers and try to sign him and try to fix him? I don't know that I would want to. He's been DFA'd, so you don't have to give up anything. You give up a lottery ticket. You give up an A-ball, a mid-level A-ball guy. But I'm more intrigued from the Cardinals' perspective here. Why Cabrera? To me, they're better.
Better options.
Because you're saying there's more. You think there's more upside to what we're seeing with those current numbers.
Yeah, I think somebody could do well with him. But I also think, if I were the Cardinals, that there are guys on my 40-man that I would probably move on from ahead of him. I don't know.
That was an intrigue. That was intriguing.
Why did this happen?
Him?
I think is an interesting question.
Unless there's a trade in the works and they just wanted to clear that space.
Maybe they wanted to clear the roster spot today and they know that the deal won't be made. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're bringing Tyler O'Neill back today. How's he been doing? I haven't even. Have you guys paid attention to him?
He hasn't really done much.
He got pulled from a Memphis start like a week and a half ago with tightness.
In his back?
In like the third inning.
When would he get that? Well,
about a week back.
There you go.
No, we have reached our allotment on back jokes today.
It's not my fault. It happened, Brooke.
It already happened at 7 a.m. this morning. I can't deal with it at 9:40
I was just trying to figure out what's happening to the man. I'm sorry.
As long as he's dealt with this, I totally understand where you're coming from. I don't know how long he's had it.
Me neither.
I think it's been several weeks at this point.
He did go 1 for 4 yesterday for Memphis, and over the weekend, an 0 for 4, a 2 for 4 with an RBI. So he did miss the 9th through the 13th and came back on the 14th. So I guess probably had a little issue there.
Yeah. It is kind of a perfect another Katie Wu tweet where she said, talks about O'Neill. He hopes to be activated Monday, and then she talks about how Kisner won't be activated today, but he's clear. Cardinals are still contemplating carrying 3 catchers. So all in this segment, we figured out what we do with Tyler O'Neill. We bring him back because he got a roster spot, and we trade Andrew Kisner to the Yankees because they really need it.
Yeah,
bang, bang.
Is he's still on the 40-man roster though, even though he was.
Cabrera?
No. Tyler O'Neill.
Yes, he is.
So then they would be adding someone to the 40-man
because
roster.
When you're on the 60-man, you don't count against the 40-man.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
So 60-day IL.
60-day. Okay.
And so if you're activated from the 60, you fill a 40-man roster spot. Interesting move. Thanks to Katie Wu, and follow her at the Twitter machine. And I think she's on the Threads now, too. I think she does all of her stuff on both of them.
I haven't gotten into that yet. I don't even.
It's the exact same thing, except it's
too much.
Not owned by
I don't
a weirdo.
like it as much.
Threads?
Yeah. And
Why?
maybe it's just because I've been used to Twitter. But with Threads, I feel like it doesn't have like its vibe
Same
and its
flow.
Yeah, because at least I know what I'm seeing. It's going to be all sports related. With Threads, it's like I'm seeing everything.
Well, that's
and
because
I
everybody
hate
you
it.
follow on Instagram is on the Threads.
I know.
That's the problem.
I don't like it.
It's too much for me.
That's cool. Yeah.
It's too much. Social
I don't look
media.
at it enough. So,
I'm not threading.
Rumor Central.
Brooks, like I follow these people to look at them, not hear their thoughts. So what are we doing
Exactly.
Yeah. Shut up and just post pictures. I don't want to see. I don't want to
follow
hear
you
your
on
thoughts.
this app?
If you like The Foreigner and The Lover Boy, if you're an old school music fan, well, we've got your chance to score a pair of tickets to see Foreigner with special guest Lover Boy Wednesday night at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. It's going to be awesome. Tickets for the farewell tour. I thought the Eagles did it right when they had farewell tour 1 and then farewell tour 2. Don't do farewell tour. Just do farewell tour 1, just in case you want to play some more.
I think when you say it, you need to mean it. Like how Michael Jackson said, "This is it," and that was it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think that's different.
I thought-
Isn't that a little different?
I mean, he still named it. This is it.
it was definitely it.
And it was it.
That was a Randy level joke. I like that.
Those are. If you want a good nap, propofol.
Oh, no. It's the long nap.
That's a big, a dirt nap.
Oh no.
Yeah. It helps you relax, Brooke.
Clearly.
It does. You need somebody that's good at injecting it, okay? He didn't have the best.
Okay.
Rock's like, please get to break. Just please.
So you can get all the tickets for Foreigner and Loverboy at 101ESPN.com or on the 101 app. But you can also answer a question. Do you have a question right now?
I do.
314-399-9646. 314-399-9646. Hold on. That's our text number. It is yo. Okay, what's the question?
Who are the last
You were
pair
going,
of,
so I was like, I'm just going to go too.
Who are the last pair of brothers to hit home runs in the same game for the same team?
Major leaguers.
In the major league. Who was the last pair of brothers to hit home runs for the same team in the same game? And I hear tell even that they did it in the same inning.
Oh.
Recently.
Even better. That's the question. Let's do, because it's a difficult question, texter number 8.
All right.
Texter number 8 to the text line, and you win the Foreigner and Loverboy tickets. We've got Rocc Roll coming up on 101 ESPN.
and roll.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
All right, it's time for Rock and Roll here on 101 ESPN. Matthew Rocchio has our rock. By the way, do you think the Cardinals have discovered the genesis of their problems?
I don't think that's.
That got me.
I don't think that's it, Randy. I don't think that's it.
Just throwing that out there. Consumption.
Got some names in here.
I thought of it. It was.
If they haven't figured it out yet, they can just talk to Jesus tonight.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
He's pitching for the Marlins. He's 8-5 with a 3.26 ERA. He's a good pitcher. He's lefty.
What else do you have for us besides that great humor that you just delivered?
We were talking earlier with Bradley Carnell about the whole Leagues Cup and how they handle that. And with the NBA coming up with their own midseason tournament, now theirs is different. It's going to count as part of the regular season, except for the championship games. It still mathematically does not make sense to me. But I just need a general consensus here. How am I supposed to feel about midseason tournaments? Like, I don't know how to like weigh this. Like, should I care if they beat Columbus Crew on? Like, I care if they win, but like, should I care that much if they lose?
Any trophy you win is good. Don't they do that in Premier League and stuff?
They do as well, but like those cups matches have been around for hundreds of years.
That's right. We're starting a new tradition.
There's a lot of history, and differently there is that because of promotion relegation, there's a stratosphere. And if you're a lower rung team, you're really not gonna win the league. So like a cup thing is a real thing because that might be your Super Bowl if you are a lower level team because you're not gonna win the league. It's not going to happen. And so but that's different here in the MLS because of free agency, because of the rules they have. Every team in the MLS can build a championship level squad. And so I don't know how much a cup thing is going to really matter to me.
Here's the thing. As a kid, I would have never dreamed of having egg burritos for breakfast on Thanksgiving.
What is happening?
What?
But in college,
pull this one back.
that's a tradition that I started. And now it's something that I wouldn't want to deviate from. Egg burritos for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade on Thanksgiving is a tradition. It's a tradition that was born 30 years ago. Now I like it. You just have to let it grow. You have to let it ferment and become bigger and better. So look at it as a new tradition.
Okay, that's a way to look at it.
Yeah,
liken it to a breakfast burrito.
Okay, but let's say you were traveling though, Randy, and you couldn't do the breakfast burrito. Would it bother you that much?
So
if on that day you couldn't do
many years ago, I'm in New York City for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I'm there.
The whole thing?
To watch it.
What a flex.
And I Thanksgiving mornings, was Randy finding a place where he could have a breakfast burrito? Yes, he was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Carrie?
Was this born out of necessity? Like you didn't have anything other than that to eat?
No, you remember when I was telling you the story about being a secret shopper at Noggles?
Oh, yes.
It was born out of that.
Okay, all right.
Carrie, you took home the most prized trophy in your respective sport.
Uh-huh.
Your
I
thoughts
wouldn't
here.
care about a mix.
Yeah, I was going to say, could you ever see yourself getting amped? I mean, it's another game, though. I mean, it's competition. If the Cleveland Browns are on the other side of that field for you, you're not going to hit them hard?
It's not a championship. Like, it's not.
It's a little championship.
Are they going to put banners up in the
you're going
NBA?
to get a trophy.
Are they going to put a banner up?
So.
No, the NBA one mostly it's coming.
They're going to give trophies. Are they going to give like? I'm looking at this.
Here's the thing.
Guy outside.
Yeah, we've got a window washer here. So the NBA, they're not adding any games. It's 4 games within the schedule of the season. So if there's something, especially for a mediocre team, if there's a carrot for a mediocre team to be motivated, I'm completely on board. And by the way, players get $500,000 for winning this thing. So
a piece?
Oh.
Yeah.
That's the motivation right there.
Now
that's
the
NBA wants cash.
Yeah. So
I don't want to check.
That's the thing. You go to an NBA game in person, and it's boring for the first 3 quarters, right? The action happens in the fourth quarter. Now you're going to see people really competing So I like the idea of having a carrot, and whether it's because of a tournament or something else, I like it a lot. And I like it for MLS. I like it for Premier League. I don't like it as much for the NFL, but I think baseball could benefit a lot from having a mid-season tournament that counts within the 162.
Especially, and that's what I'm saying, I think it works with leagues where you're playing that many games.
Yep. So
it makes sense.
Yeah. How cool would it be right now for the Cardinals, the Rockies, the Nationals, and the A's to be involved in a little tournament, just so that
just those 4 teams, just those 4 teams.
Yeah,
you're the worst of the worst.
But your fans get something.
Winner gets the #1 overall pick.
There you go.
I would love it if teams actually had to win something, except other than a coin flip or a lottery toss. I'd love if a team had to win something to get the top pick.
Yeah.
There you go.
That would make it very interesting.
One other thing I need to hit, Tyreek Hill on his podcast over the weekend made a prediction for his 2023 season. 2K. Tyreek Hill says that he's calling it. He's going to get 2,000 yards in his NFL career. He says he's also calling another Super Bowl. My thing here is he getting traded back to Patrick Mahomes?
No.
Who's his quarterback?
He's got the most accurate quarterback in the NFL, I believe.
So 2,000 yards.
If they keep
can he get 189 catches to get to 2,000 yards? That feels like it's a lot of receptions, Randy, for Tua to get him there 6 yards at a time.
There was I forget who he was on,
6.4
what
yards
podcast he was on, but Terrell Owens was talking about Tua when he was in college and how accurate he was. He ran routes with him when he was still in college. Jalen Hurts was still their quarterback there, but they were telling him if Jalen wasn't their starting quarterback at the time, this young man would be their guy. I think Tua does have some ability. And Tyreek went for 1,700 last year. And Tua missed how many games?
Yeah, I think 4 or 5. And Jalen Waddle led the NFL with 18.1 yards per reception.
There we go.
His running mate.
You got some. I will say it's not. It's not impossible. He can probably do that. He had 170 targets last year,
and we're playing 17 games now.
And if your starting quarterback plays all 17 and you play all 17, it's a possibility.
What about their O-line, though? Are you confident in that?
Oh, our guy.
Yeah.
Our guy is their left tackle, right?
That's. I mean, you gotta. Usually, if you can get a left tackle healthy for all 17 games,
right tackle for him.
Right tackle.
Well, because Tua is lefty.
They switch more to the other side. You can get your blindside tackle right. All you need is just 4 other guys who start every game, and by the end of the season, you can get a cohesive group. You know what I'm saying, Kerry?
You gotta have some guys.
What I'm saying is, if you can get the blindside protector and you can get 4 guys who play the entire season together, that's a huge part when it comes to offensive line play.
Blindside is important, but if your interior offensive line is not good and cannot block, because that's the shortest path to the quarterback. Aaron Donald gets paid millions of dollars for a reason, because interior pressure, quarterback can't step up in the pocket. It is problematic for your offensive line and for your offense that day.
So he needed 210 yards. He had a game last year, Tyreek did, against Buffalo, where he caught 2 balls for 33 yards. So he's got to be consistent. He had another game where he caught balls for only 47 yards and then a 44. So he basically needs to add about 60 yards in each of those games, and he's got it.
Yep. It's doable.
So let's do it. Great job today by our producer, audio engineer, Matthew Rocchio. Thank you.
Pleasure.
We're all intrigued by the window washer here. That's why we're distracted.
Turn the camera and look
this
at him.
seems very dangerous.
Is he strapped in? He's got a harness on.
He has a harness. That's
there
good.
You go, buddy. There you go. You're gonna
put that on the
Twitter.
On the Twitter machine.
Yeah.
There's no way I could do that. Just like Rocchio hates parades, I hate heights.
Should have got him to wave, Randy.
Macy's Day.
We had a guy one time here that he didn't like clowns, so I brought a clown in.
Why would you do that?
It was legit. I didn't know. I thought he was joking.
That's cruel.
Yeah.
So then what happened?
He's scared to death. It was legit. It was bad.
You thought
it was bad.
A grown man was joking about his fear of clowns, and so your idea was to test that theory?
I basically did, yes.
That's evil.
Anyway, Brooke, I will never do that. You aren't scared of clowns, are you?
No.
Okay. Well, what are you scared of?
Heights.
Okay.
Escalators.
Okay. We can work on this. We'll get you on.
Escalators, especially.
Okay, we'll work on that.
Don't install an escalator in this building, please. That's extra. I don't like escalators.
Do you walk up or down them to get off quicker?
They just make me very anxious, especially when they're really. In Busch Stadium, the escalator.
I was just about to say the one we did where we had to go to the shack.
Yes.
Chicken. Yes, that one is a little. Just don't look down.
Well, and one of the people who's working by the escalator, they saw that I was getting really nervous about having to go down, and they were like, "Do you want to take the elevator?" I was like, "Yeah." Scared.
Great job, CD. Carrie's going to take a nap today.
At some point.
Yeah.
I don't know when.
Okay, well, I hope you do. Okay, just so that you can see the window washer, because you've never seen a window washer before. Yeah. I've got it up on the Twitter right now.
There you go.
There you go.
Good to see.
Hey, we thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show. Is Tim McKernan in the building today? Holy cow.
Wow.
In 2 weeks.
We got a balloon party coming up on 101 ESPN. For all of us until tomorrow morning at 7. Have a great day, St. Louis.
That's right.